I've been married for a month and my husband is having an affair with my sister. I've been in shock since I found out. We have been married for a month. He's been having the affair with my sister since before we got engaged back in November. My sister is 8 months pregnant. Her husband was the one who discovered the affair, and he is divorcing her. He had to get a test done on the advice of his aunt who is a solicitor, to make sure their 1.5-year-old son was his child, but my sister doesn't yet know if her husband or my husband is the father of her baby. I'll be seeking a divorce even though my husband wants us to go to counseling and stay married. I'm an advocate, a barrister, so I won't have any trouble finding a solicitor at least. The law only takes adultery into consideration as to why the marriage broke down and not for how the assets are divided or settled. However, at least I will not have to pay him support since we were only married for a month before I moved out of our flat. I will never speak to my sister again no matter how much she begs me to forgive her, and I am not staying married to my husband no matter how much he begs me to stay. I don't believe either of them when they say they are sorry. Not one bit. I have posted an update to this post. Top comments. Commenter 1, I'm so sorry for their betrayal. I would never speak to her ever again either. Commenter 2, since you've only been married for a month, is an annulment an option? So sorry for what you're going through. Sis and hubby are both trash. Commenter 3, they are only sorry they got caught. Damn, OP, this is one of the worst ways to be cheated on. Fuck them both, you are better than them. I hope the kid is your husband so you and your ex-BL don't have to be tied to these losers anymore. Commenter 4, OP, the law may limit your legal entitlements. However, the threat of exposure in alleging adultery and the publication of his and your sister's adulterous acts may cause his willingness to provide you a stipend settlement in excess of the customary entitlement. Absent that, blow them both up with family, friends, acquaintances and social media. Both merit the absolute worst. Good luck to you. Please keep us apprised. Update, I've been married for a month and my husband is having an affair with my sister. People who say you should get over it when someone cheats on you have no idea what it is like. Last June I, F37, found out my husband, M39, was having an affair with my sister, F27. I had been married for a month. Their affair began before I was engaged. My sister's husband, M27, was the one who first found out. When it was discovered, my sister was about 8 months pregnant with a baby girl and it turned out my ex-husband is the father. Apparently he was furious when he found out because he didn't want children. My ex-husband and I met in an online dating group for people who don't want children, or to date people who have children from former relationships. My ex-husband and my sister both begged me to forgive them. My sister said she can't help it that she fell in love him and my ex-husband said he couldn't be blamed for what happened. I couldn't believe they thought what they did could be forgiven and forgotten. My ex-husband didn't want a divorce and neither did my sister from my former brother-in-law. I'm divorced now. I'm an advocate, known as a barrister in the rest of the UK, so I was fortunate to already know the best solicitors who could represent me in my divorce. Since I was only married for a month before I sought a divorce and moved out of our flat, I did not have to pay my ex-husband maintenance and the divorce did not take long. It's a different story for my sister and my former brother-in-law. They were married for longer, they own property and they have a son together. He was 17 months old when the affair was discovered. My sister may end up having to pay spousal and child maintenance since she earns more. Their divorce is ongoing. I haven't spoken with my former brother-in-law since I first left my ex-husband, but I feel badly for him. He was devastated when he found out about the affair and the baby not being his child. He didn't deserve any of that. People who say you should just get over it when someone cheats on you have no idea. I have never felt pain like this before. It wasn't even just emotional. It was physical as well. I'm still heartbroken over this. I had no idea anything could hurt so much. I'm going to start seeing a counselor, but it doesn't feel like enough. I haven't seen or spoken to my ex-husband since I moved out of our flat. The only contact during the divorce was through our solicitors. He's dead to me and so is my sister. I haven't seen or spoken to my sister since shortly after I left my ex-husband and I never want to see her again. She's dead to me. I don't think I'll ever heal from this. I'm fortunate my parents, my other sister and most of my family support me and have disowned my traitor sister and no longer have contact with her. Anyone who tells me I should forgive her or chooses her over me gets removed from my life with no second chance. I don't ever want to hear anything about either one of them again. From what my ex-husband's solicitor said during my divorce, they, sister and ex-husband, plan to marry after she is granted a divorce. I haven't heard anything about either one of them since then. I try not to even think about either of them. They were two of the people I loved most in the world and they did something that I'll never heal from. They are selfish and they destroyed me. Anyone who says I should get over this or forgive and forget has no idea what it is like. Top comments. Commenter 1, thank you for the update. You and your BL are both making the best possible decision. You're right, your ex and your ex-sister are horrible, selfish people. They hurt so many people. Do whatever you can to protect your peace and mental health. I'm so sorry they did this to you. Honestly, I'd recommend blocking anyone who says you need to forgive them and move on. No, you don't. You may at some point in the future need to explore forgiveness from the point of view of easing the weight on your heart. But don't feel pressured to offer forgiveness to either of them. I wish you the best of luck in the future. Commenter 2, guarantee the only reason sister's marrying the ex at this point is because he's all she has since she's been disowned by the entire family. It's a marriage of convenience. Something tells me that's going to be one toxic relationship, as I'm sure there'll be resentment there from both of them, and they'll have no one to blame but themselves. All I can say for the ex who never wanted kids, karma, while I feel for the kid, I hope the kid doesn't grow up with parents that resent them, they don't deserve that. Commenter 3, I am so sorry. Never mind your ex, what a betrayal from your own sister. I couldn't even imagine. Commenter 4, do something really special for yourself. A trip, an activity, a shopping spree, whatever it is. You deserve whatever small joys you can find. As much as it hurts, think about them together, her just having had a baby, and he gets distant or angry or aloof, she will forever be looking over her shoulder wondering if he's cheating. She deserves to live in that misery. They might stay together but they'll be miserable. Stories number 2, my 28F, fiance, 32M, didn't show up on our wedding day. I suspect my coworkers, 29F, foul play. Aita for confronting her, I just want to let it out. My 28F, fiance, 32M, and I are dating for 2 years and engaged since 1 year. We both are doctors. We met through a matchmaking app and connected instantly. He was a very mature handsome guy, working in a corporate hospital. Matching the caste is a mandatory thing in our community and we were from the same caste but our subcaste was different. He was more like a mentor to me. He motivated me to study, be more vocal about my issues, even in workplace when I had troubles with my coworkers. He used to tell me to confront them, give no damn about anyone who has problems with me, ask me to fight them, stand my ground and just focus on my work and studies, get fit, etc. This led me to have clashes with my coworkers and I actually didn't give any damn about any of them, but me and my future life with him. I got to know that one of my coworker, 29F, told others in my workplace that my relationship was toxic and my man is manipulative and is instigating me to create all the fights I have been creating with them. I had so many clashes with her in the past also. She is very loved by everyone in my workplace and whenever there is problems between us, everyone will take her side. She is also married recently. Her husband is not very good looking and not making enough money as my fiancé. I always felt that she was jealous of me getting a man way above my league, while she could not, despite being prettier than me. It pissed me off and I had a huge fight with her and now no one in my workplace is talking to me. But honestly I didn't give much damn about them. I always felt they are all a bunch of jealous folks who got pissed because I got a man who is a high achiever and handsome and make a good amount of money, supports me. Fast forward, it was our wedding day. My parents booked and arranged everything, took care of all the expenses. Everything was ready and perfect. I got ready early morning and was waiting for the groom's party to arrive. But no one showed up. My parents sensed something was wrong. They called his father and they said, someone just died in their family and it would be better to postpone the wedding. We all were shocked. I tried calling my fiancé and he didn't pick the call. After a while, we got to know from a common family friend that the groom's side don't want this wedding and they just lied about the death as an excuse to cancel the wedding. I was traumatized. The reason they were doing this was our difference in subcaste it seems. But we never had any problem with subcaste during our entire dating period. I was devastated. I felt it is someone's foul play, talking trash about me to his family or him. My doubt arose about the coworker I had problems with. I decided to confront her, called her out in public in the workplace. Everyone else gathered against me and called me insane. I am completely devastated. My fiancé blocked me from all platforms and I have to work in the same place for another year due to contract requirements. I am completely cast out in my workplace. I don't understand what went wrong and who did this to me. Aita for confronting my coworker for destroying my relationship. Comments. Comment 1. What is your evidence that the coworker had anything to do with this? Honestly, if you're incapable of getting along with every single person you work with, the problem sounds like you. Your fiancé gave you bad advice. Being an asshole at work and making wild accusations is not the way to get ahead in your career. YTA and your snobby in-laws and ex-fiancé who didn't have the guts to speak to you honestly about the wedding are also TA. I think you should seek out therapy to deal with the stress of this very difficult time. My impression is that you're jealous of your coworker's relationship. Even though he isn't as handsome as your ex, they're probably a happier couple. You're projecting, she isn't the jealous one here. A good therapist can help you heal and grow. Reply, why the hell do you presume that I am jealous of my coworker's married life? She settled for an average guy, which once I have told her myself. She was telling me, looks and money don't matter to her, and she truly found her soulmate in her husband, which I'm sure, she was telling to console herself. He is not even a doctor and someone from an entirely different profession, which is again very incompatible. All this are to paint herself as a happily married woman, while in fact she is just jealous I had a perfect relationships, everything was right. I don't have any other enemies than this bunch of toxic coworkers. She might have even used her connections within our same professional circle to do harm to me. Directly confronting her was not very smart move I feel at this point, but should have collected some evidence to prove my point. But my gut told me to do so at that point. Comment 2, believe it or not, some people actually do get married because they fall in love with the kind of person their partner is. Not everyone cares about looks and money, you chose to care about those superficial things and look where it landed you. Comment 3, white yay. You were horrible to all your coworkers to impress a man who dumped you. Your coworker was right about him. Grow up and take responsibility for being toxic at work. Apologize to the people you were rude to. She certainly got the better man, hers showed up to their wedding, because looks and money are the worst ways to judge people. You have an awful lot to learn about life. No one could force your man to walk away, he chose to. That is his fault. You need therapy, lots of it, for your entitlement and other issues. Comment 4, Aita, community, white yay. Reply, proceeds to argue at literally every comment. Dear OP, you are on the page, Aita, literally. If people say YTA, you need to have balls to take it. Don't assume you can just ask and everyone will support you no matter what. That being said, no one deserves being left out on their wedding day. I hope you recover from this trauma and get better. More power to you. Original 2, colleague counters. Next day, recent post of a coworker throwing drama at workplace and falsely accusing us for her broken marriage. Created the account just to clarify certain things, as a coworker of ours recently took it to Reddit to accuse us falsely for her broken marriage scenario, not exactly an Aita scenario. Long post alert, tried to include whatever I can. Few of our colleagues who are active on Reddit has recently shared with us the post about one of our coworkers' recent post accusing us for breaking her marriage. Initially we tried to ignore, thinking it as a childish rant and as we didn't want any more workplace drama. But since the concerned person's story is quite infamous here in the workplace, that one of our colleagues even asked us they didn't think we were this toxic. So, this post is just to clarify any doubt for the readers and to avoid any more serious allegations further. I, 28F, have been working with this said coworker for past 3 years. We all are contract-based doctors. Although, I am not that particular coworker she accused of, but we collectively decided to clarify things and avoid tarnishing our name further. I would be happy to answer any more queries if anybody have it. Things were pretty cool at work initially, but soon we started noticing this particular girl, let's call her Zara, 28F, being little weird at work. Initially it was like, she escapes during the duty hours, which puts the extra burden on us, skipping her duty days, telling she had already finished her duties as per roster, which is false, getting offended for every small joke by anybody, very rudely back answering the senior colleagues, yelling to us in front of patients during consultation hours, ignoring work and doing her personal things during duty times, etc. Initially we tried to ignore it, but it kept on getting worse day by day. It was like we doing the free labor for her, while she used that as a free opportunity to mind her own things, which was totally professionally unacceptable. One day, it was extreme, that she blatantly denied during the duty I did for her as a cover. She was to replace that for me. I brought it to her attention thinking it is obvious she would take it up. But to my surprise, she told me she had already done all her supposed duties for the month, and I should approach the other coworker she actually bombed in a post, let's call her Mira, 29F. I am a not so directly confronting person, so I asked Mira to help me out and cover the duty for me. It was actually unfair to ask her that, as it was not her obligation, but to just avoid drama. But she took her stand and told me, we should not let this pass by, and if we do, she will continue taking advantage of the situation. So, Mira tried to explain to Zara with the duty roster, as it would be Zara's turn to compensate the duty I did for her. She lashed out at her in front of the patients and attendees. Zara took it to a level of street fight. She started taking the fight to a personal level, completely failing to see that she was the wrong one here. We left it there, and moved forward. But definitely by this time, we all kind of felt a resentment towards her. It kept on happening many other times. The problem's manifold since she started talking to this one guy, who she only proudly told us, tells her to shut us all down and focus on her work. She never cooperate with any of us for any work. She will make sure it's we against her always. Work became entirely difficult just because of this one person, so we decided to report it unofficially to our senior colleagues who were also burned by her few times. They suggested we all collectively approach our chief and address this, and we did. Chief is kind of diplomatic person, who would do anything to neutralize the situation diplomatically, which came into her favor, and she kept on doing all the shit anyway. But by this point, she took it to a personal revenge against Mira, as she thought she was the one who is instigating all of us to go to war against us, which is not the case, as Mira spoke for all of us. She repeatedly complained about Mira, making personal accusations against her. She skipped this part in her post about how toxic of a relationship she actually was in, which we could only see. In duty hours, she will be on phone with her fiance for hours, using one of the departmental room as her own personal room, locking the door from inside, as if it's her bedroom. Mind you, he is also a working doctor, who must be very aware of how unprofessional it is. Some days she would continuously cry and throw tantrums at others after those phone calls. Nobody had any intention in getting to her personal world, to gossip about it, but it was more than obvious that people started talking about it. Sometimes, she overshares some of her problems with one junior colleague, the mama's boy thing and all, which again became a talk. She only brought this on herself. She boasts about her fiancé continuously to even the interns she met just yesterday, even they came and told us, she is quite weird. She even started giving off free relationship advices to people. LOL. All we could think was, is the said guy blind enough to date her, or maybe he is going to be worse than her? Whenever she gets chance, she take dig on Mira's husband in marriage. We have met her husband, he is a fine-looking, hard-working gentleman, we even went out to dinner with him. They are a happy couple. And Mira started glowing after marriage, even though their life is just regular and normal. They are currently expecting a baby. Maybe all this pissed her off, while she was crying daily or throwing tantrum out of her personal frustration. She didn't invite me or Mira for her marriage, while she invited everyone else present in front of us, even the very junior colleagues. We felt bad, but oh boy, we didn't want to see her wedding day drama. So, few of them went to attend the wedding and came back and told all the drama happened there. No one wanted to see a girl getting stood up on her wedding day, so we empathized with her. We were all very considerate with her on the day she came back, but suddenly out of the blue, she stormed to Mira and started accusing that she had done something to cancel her wedding. Out of the blue. She was being completely delusional. Mira asked her proofs, which she didn't have. We don't even know her fiancé personally, nor any of her family. I pity them, in fact, to get tangled with her. Mira completely broke down, and she is currently 4 months pregnant and started hyperventilating. We all rushed to help her and called Zara crazy to behave that way. Mira left early that day and wanted to report the issue. But her husband told her not to entertain any further drama between us, and he and her family met with chief and filed an official complaint. From next day, Zara pretended like nothing happened and started completely immersed in her books and personal work. None of us obviously wanted to interact with her. Mira completely ignores being even near to her, as she finds it mentally draining. We thought all the drama is over, but after about a month, this post came up and it shocked us all that she is still carrying the sinister grudge against us all. Comments. Additional details provided by OOP2 regarding the wedding cancellation. Reply, the bride and team were ready and waiting. The groom's side was supposed to come to the venue together. The people who attended said, the hall was almost empty with only few relatives from her side, but no one formed the guy's side. They thought, it might be a very intimate ceremony. After a while, as they were waiting in the lounge, Zara called one of the colleague attended and told the wedding is postponed as someone from the groom's side of family died. She specifically asked them not to come anymore. But they went on to check on her and she kind of disappeared. Even her entire family disappeared, which is imaginable. But already people present there were talking that it seemed like a lie. It was very obvious that the groom's party altogether planned not to attend. It is unfortunate to happen to anyone. Reply, apparently she has been blocked by him, not a surprise for us. And her family, from what I heard, is quite weird too. I remember her telling me when we were in good terms that her father and her future mill had always had arguments about almost everything, starting from jewelry, venue, dates of wedding, etc. Her engagement and wedding both got postponed 2 to 3 times for similar reasons where they couldn't agree on a common ground, as told by another common acquaintance. There are a lot of drama going on in that entire family to begin with. Forget anyone else interfering, I would presume, the groom's family never really wanted to be part of her or her family's life. Groom would have had a late lucky realization. Comment 1, oh lord, I just read her post and her comments, and she is unhinged. Make sure you and your colleagues keep a log of what she's doing saying, and make sure your bosses are aware. She is absolutely making work a hostile environment for you all. Reply, yes. We stated collecting evidences. Even our WhatsApp group was full of her shitty comments and accusations, which she deletes in no time. We started taking screenshots, recording calls, etc., just in case. Chief is kind of a soft man, she easily manipulates him and turn things into her favor. She often plays the victim card when there is issue with us, and female card when it comes to any male senior colleagues complaining about their. Comment 2, if your chief is not doing anything, you need to go higher than him. Reply, unfortunately there is nothing much we can do in our country against workplace toxicity until it becomes physical violence. All they can do is give her warning, and most of the senior doctors doesn't like her anyway. I think they're scared as well because once she played female card and made some serious allegations against another male colleague when he called out on her bullshit. So, she can make it very nasty, so everyone is kind of being very cautious. It might affect her while she try for academic progress, that's all. Comment 3, take her post to HR. Reply, we are not directly under any HR as our job comes under a national program where they recruit doctors on contract basis. It comes under one government agency, the headquarters is in a very far city. That is the last resort if we provide evidences. If she escalated further, that's what we are planning to do. I am sure, she is going to throw another drama due after she sees the post. I am waiting. Stories number 3. Aita for telling my dad to never contact me again after he chose his wife's mom over me. Hi everyone, 17F, am only really posting this since my dad's family and even my mom are telling me that I'm in the wrong. My parents got divorced when I was 12 and they had 50-50 custody, so I would stay with my dad for a week then my mom. When I was 14 my dad got married to my stepmom, I refer to her as his wife, and I would only see them on the weekends until they moved and I only saw them whenever they visited. My mom got full custody. Anyways, last month they moved back to our city and got a 2-bedroom house. My dad had promised me the room before he moved back and told me he could do 50-50 again if me and my mom were okay with it, and we were. I was so excited and even picked out furniture and bought stuff to decorate it. Anyways, they move into the house and invite me. They give me a tour and show me my room. I asked when I could start putting things in it, and that's when they told me that they were actually going to give the room to his wife's mom, and since I was going away to college soon, it wasn't like I was going to use the room much. They also told me that instead of staying the full week that I can go on the weekends and sleep on their couch if I wanted to. I said no to that and texted my mom to pick me up. It's been a month and I ghosted my dad fully. He even came to try to talk to me, but I was at school. He's been contacting my mom too, which he hates doing. So I just decided that I didn't want to be in his life anymore or have him in mine, even though I barely did. I talked to my mom, and for someone who hates my dad, she told me that I should just talk to him and spend time with him since I barely got to for 2 years. I just decided to cut him off. It sounds impulsive, I know, but I sent him a long message detailing how emotionally neglected and unwanted he made me feel and to never contact me again. I blocked him and blocked his side of the family. In the morning my mom woke me up at 5 a.m. and asked what I did. Almost my dad's entire family have been blowing up her phone asking what she said did that made me want to cut off my dad. During school I even got a few messages from my cousins on Insta that I forgot to block insulting me. My mom showed me some of the messages and some are insulting both of us. My dad even sent a message apologizing to me and said I broke his heart. His wife is sending disgusting messages towards my mom. I feel awful because I didn't expect them to attack not only me but my mom, harshly at that. I feel like I messed up and want to know if what I did was the right thing. Small update, my mom talked to my dad and set up a time to talk tomorrow after school. My mom's making me talk to him and reconcile, but I really don't want to. I'm trying to convince her not to force me to go, but she's threatening to take away my phone laptop that I need for school and other things. Update, Aita for telling my dad to never contact me again after he chose his wife's mom over me. I met with my dad. Hi guys, right now I'm at a friend's house and going to stay the night. If you guys saw the small update I did on my last post, my mom was making me see my dad in person today to try and reconcile. She was threatening to take away things I need and use like my phone, so I had to go. After school she picked me up and we drove to his house. I made sure to try and mentally prepare what I wanted to say do. I really didn't want to talk to him, but since I was forced I decided to take some advice from my last post and basically just talk about times I felt neglected and why I wanted to cut him off, including the harassment from his family. When I got there, I thought it was just going to be him, me, and mom, but I was wrong. My mom came inside with me, but my dad told me to sit in the dining room and wait. They stayed talking at the door and I went to the dining room. My dad's wife, who I'll just call Becca since it's close to her name, and her mom were sitting there. They told me to sit down while we wait for my dad. These women looked so angry at me and I felt uncomfortable. I sat and was on my phone and I could just feel and see them staring. I wanted to get up and leave but my dad eventually came and sat down. He told me we needed to talk but I asked him where my mom was and he said that she left. I asked why and he ignored me. Then he started talking about how sorry he was for what I felt but that Becca's mom wanted the room and she already broke her lease from her apartment, and was thinking of quitting her job. Guys, this lady is 53 and acts like she's my age. She's gotten fired from all her jobs or quit because they work hard. For everyone thinking of a small frail old lady, you're wrong. Picture someone who loves Vegas, drinking and party. There you go. I was mad. They all took turns talking and basically said words that mean, we're sorry if you're upset but you're dramatic and you being dramatic affects us so we'll give you a bunch of excuses and make you seem like the bad guy. I just wanted to leave so I said something like, this isn't just because of the room, it's the promises that were broken and how you treat me, and I gave examples of things he's done that hurt me, including the harassment, and when I mentioned it, Becca snorted and rolled her eyes at me and told me that I'm being dramatic with the word harassment, and it was towards my mom and not me. Me and Becca got into an argument, but it was more like me going okay sure, but you still did this, and her excusing it and raising her voice. I decided to end that and just tell them that I'm not going to reconcile with them. If I have to talk to them in the future I will only if necessary, but for now, I don't want to build a relationship since we haven't had one in years. When I asked when my mom was coming back, they told me she wasn't until Monday. This is when I got really upset and went outside. I didn't want to be inside or around them anymore and I texted my mom for an hour straight. I even walked to a small plaza nearby just so I could be away from them. My mom didn't answer and it was getting late. I didn't want to involve my friends or anything but it seemed like the only choice so I asked one of my friends if she could come pick me up and if I can stay with her. She said yes and now I'm at her house. She's doing homework right now so I'm just in her living room watching TV waiting for her to be done. Her mom told me I can stay the whole weekend if I'm okay with going to church on Sunday and can borrow my friend's clothes. I texted my mom and let her know I'm staying with a friend and I still haven't heard back from her. I think she turned her phone off. Honestly, I want to cry out of anger. I'm so confused as to what happened. I'm mad, very mad but also very numb. I don't know what this means. I left my mom voicemails crying asking why she left and wasn't picking up and venting to her so I guess maybe I feel numb because of that. Who knows, I'll try to give you guys an update but who knows what that will be. Stories number 4. Original post, Aita for not wanting a relationship with my parents now they've cut me off. I'm a student. My parents make enough money that when I went through student finance to get my maintenance loan I was told I could only get the minimum, just over $3,000 a year, because finance is calculated from what your parents earn and there's an assumption that your parents will help you out. I'm on a high-intensity course and I wasn't sure how I'd be able to balance studying and schooling, so when I found out I was going to get minimum I told my parents I wanted to either take the coming year to save up, and then go to my first choice university a year later than planned, or go to my second choice now because I wouldn't be able to afford to live in the city my first choice is in. My parents then said that they would pay my rent if I went to my first choice on schedule. They set me up in a studio flat, so all I had to do was get a part-time job to cover the cost of food and bills. On February 18th, my 20th birthday, they called me and said that I was relying on them too much and needed to find out what the real world was like by earning my own money, so they would cover my rent and phone for that month, so until end of February, and after that I was on my own, then said that they were still my parents and they loved me, and wanted me to stay in touch, just learn some independence while doing this. I begged them to reconsider but they ended the call, so I had 11 days notice that I would have no flat or phone. I begged my uni for emergency housing but they said that I had no proof I'd been cut off so they couldn't do anything. I emailed my parents asking them to write a letter stating they'd cut me off so I could sort my student finance and emergency housing. They said no. I asked work if I could take on more hours and was told that due to my contract I can't do any more than I'm already doing, so I'm now looking for a second job. I'm sleeping on a friend's sofa until a place I can afford opens up, and as I still don't have proof I've been cut off for student finance I will probably have to drop out this summer. I got a Facebook message from them today telling me they were disappointed I didn't call on Mom's birthday a couple days ago, and that I've not given them my new phone number yet. I responded telling them the position I'm currently in and that I no longer want a relationship with them. I've gotten a bunch of messages from them and my brothers asking me to reconsider. My friend says I shouldn't feel bad but I feel incredibly guilty, and like a spoiled brat, because I don't love my family for their money. I love them because they're my family, but at the same time they've really screwed me over here. Aita for not wanting a relationship with them. Update, on the same post I messaged them asking why they cut me off, saying the least they could do was explain why they're fine leaving me homeless. They responded. My friend, the one I'm staying with, is an out and proud lesbian. There are maybe 2 posts about me on her social media, one being a group shot of us and some people we were studying with in the library with me and her sat together, and another from a couple days before my birthday where she posted a photo of me when we went to lunch because we weren't planning on seeing each other on my actual birthday, and in the caption she refers to me as princess in a clearly joking way. My brothers then showed our parents and told them I was a lesbian and she was my girlfriend. So now I have proof that they cut me off, proof they're homophobic and confirmation that they can and will switch on me at the drop of a hat, as well as proof of my brothers, who are older than me and living with our parents, being jealous shitheads. They didn't just tell me this on the phone because they hoped I'd figure it out, which is tricky given that it's not fucking true star. Apparently there's enough affection still there for them to expect a call on mom's birthday, but not enough to not totally fuck me over. So yeah, never talking to them again. Any of them. I've sent the screenshots to the person I spoke to in emergency housing, though I've been warned that for something called emergency housing it's not very fast. My friend has said I can stay with her as long as I need. The reply my parents sent hasn't explicitly said the phrase, "we cut you off because," but given the context of them replying to my message asking why it should be enough. Thanks everyone, I felt really shitty cutting them off over finances, but now I know they're pure fucking evil. I don't feel so bad. I've also sent my parents the screenshots of my brother confirming that he and my brother lied about me, and they're very apologetic, but that doesn't change anything. As my brothers live with my parents, I hope they're all very happy together right now. New plan, changing the focus of my studies going into third year to focus on the subjects I want to do, not the ones my parents wanted me to do. If I do this, I have a far better shot at getting a work placement, it's far less popular than my current field of study, and if I get a work placement I can spend my third year working full-time, earning a bit of cash, and then resume my studies the following year. Failing this, and if I can't get any help from the university or student finance, then I will defer my third year and work full-time for a year. My friend says I can stay with her as long as I need and has said if I can't get emergency housing but can sort out my placement or another job then we could get a place together next year, so I have a confirmed roommate. I no longer think I'm TA, so I'll probably be taking this down. So here's the thing. I might not be straight. I'm figuring it out and I don't really have the capacity to go through it right now, but I've never said anything to anyone, at all, ever, because I knew my parents were homophobic, so my brothers may have thought they were lying but they also may have been inadvertently correct, and I have to say being correct by accident is very typical of them. Update. Recap on my first post, my parents cut me off financially with 10 days notice and BS reasoning. They had offered to pay my rent throughout university so I had 10 days to find a new place to live. I ended up sleeping on my friend's sofa. About 6 weeks of no contact later, they called me asking why I hadn't called to wish my mum a happy birthday. I wanted to know if I was TA for not wanting anything to do with them given the way they cut me off. It later came out that the reason they cut me off is that my older brothers told them I'm a lesbian, which I might be. Still figuring that out. But my brothers didn't know that. I sent my parents proof my brothers lied and they apologized, but I've not forgiven them and probably won't ever. I'd applied for emergency housing and a full student finance loan, but as I couldn't prove my parents cut me off, the services I had to go through said they couldn't help me. I was also looking into a work placement as my course offers them and they pay a decent amount. So here's how everything has shaped up. I won't be getting emergency housing from uni. I've not heard anything and there's less than a month left before summer, so I'd be shocked if I got it at this stage. I'm still living with my friend. She got me a job at her workplace but refuses to take any rent off me, so I've been repaying her by sneakily buying food and cooking her dinner as I get home before her. We have plans to move in together this summer, ready for next year. My parents have done a complete 180 and now want me to forgive them so badly that they're still refusing to sign a letter showing they've cut me off, so I'm still fucked with student finance. My parents have also offered me my truck back, so me, my roommate, and 2 more friends will be going to my parents' house sometime soon to collect my truck and some things from my room. My tutor has written a letter for me for student finance which they might accept, but I'm waiting to hear back. My course changes were approved, so now I'm doing what I want, not what my parents want, and it looks like I got my work placement, so I'll be either working and studying part-time for 2 years or working all next year and finishing studies the year after. Either way I'll be adding an extra year to my course, but I get paid and get relevant experience in my field. Ultimately, everything seems to have worked out as well as it could. Thanks to everyone who commented, because a lot of you had great advice and thought of stuff I didn't, and I was truly concerned that I was in the wrong, so thanks for the reassurance, too. I will also be booking a session with the on-campus mental health professional because this has really shown a light on just how fucked up my family is. Thanks again, smiley face. Stories number 5. I broke up with my boyfriend after he gave me the silent treatment for 4 days because I said no to his friend moving into my apartment. Hi everyone, I'm 24F, sharing this because it's been heavy on my mind, and I just need to let it out. A little background: I have my own small one-bedroom apartment. About 5 months into dating my boyfriend, 29M, he hit a rough financial patch, and I let him move in temporarily. He promised it would just be for a little while until he got back on his feet. I was trying to be supportive and a good girlfriend. Fast forward, he never left. We've been together 9 months now. He doesn't pay rent, utilities, or anything significant, just occasionally buys groceries, which I also contribute to. So basically, I'm covering almost everything. Now to what happened. Recently, he asked if one of his friends could move in with us for a while. I said no. Our apartment is tiny and barely fits the two of us, and honestly, I didn't feel comfortable having someone else live with us. The first day after I said no, he completely ignored me. I thought, okay, maybe he just needs space and gave him the benefit of the doubt. But on the second day, when I tried to talk to him and work things out, he literally shut me down, stone cold. No talking, no eye contact, just complete silent treatment like I didn't exist. This went on for 4 full days. I was so miserable and honestly felt completely disrespected in my own home, the home he wasn't even supposed to be living in this long. After those 4 days, I realized I deserved better and ended the relationship. Now a couple of mutual friends are saying I should have been more understanding and that he was just hurt, but to me, it's not about being upset, it's about refusing to communicate, disrespecting boundaries, and making me feel invisible in my own space. Stories number 6. Aita for freaking out on my boyfriend after he and his friends ate the cake I made for my friend's birthday. I, 19F, have been with my boyfriend, 22M and let's call him Jonah, for 5 years and we have a 4-year-old Anna. He's a good dad, don't get me wrong. He loves our kid, plays with her, and helps out when it's his turn for the most part. But sometimes, it feels like he just does what he wants and I'm the only one who actually has to be the responsible adult in this situation. Like, I don't care that he still hangs out with his friends. I do too when I have the time and want him to have fun or whatever. But when they come over, they get way too rowdy. They'll be drinking, blasting music, smoking, weed, not cigarettes but still I don't want that around my kid, and just being loud. I've told him a million times that's not the kind of energy I want our daughter around, and he just acts like I'm being uptight. So when I know he's having a chill night with them, I usually just take Anna to my parents' house so she doesn't have to deal with it. This time, I was actually excited to get out of the house for another reason. My best friend's birthday. She's been talking about this specific cake for months, a chocolate cheesecake stuffed sheet cake, which, BTW, took me forever to get right, so we agreed I'd make it for her birthday. I was so happy with how it turned out. Baking's one of the few little things I got in between taking care of Anna and online school, so I get really happy and proud about it when I get to it. Whether it's just for fun or for someone else, I spent hours making this cake. It was perfect. Before I left for my parents' house, I made it very, very clear to my boyfriend, do not touch this cake. It's for, friend. He kinda laughed and went, yeah, okay, babe, like I was being weird for even saying it. I come back the next morning, go to grab the cake, and half of it is gone. Like, a whole side of it just destroyed. I did have the thought maybe he would have cut himself a little piece, which would have still pissed me off but whatever, but no, his friends got into it too. I asked him what the hell happened, and Jonah just shrugged and told me that they had the munchies. Like that was some kind of valid excuse. I was so mad. I told him I spent hours on it, that it was literally my best friend's birthday cake, and that I had specifically told him not to touch it. And he had the audacity to go, babe, it's just some cake, why are you acting like this? Like, I don't know, maybe because I put so much effort into it and now I have nothing to bring to my friend's party. He kept going on about how I was blowing shit out of proportion and how I could just make another one. As if I even have the time to do that and for it to be ready for the party. We kept arguing about it until he rolled his eyes at me and told me if I was gonna act like that over cake then I could stay with my parents. So yeah. He kicked me out. I barely had time to grab my things and our daughter because he was practically shooing me out of the door and leave. Now I'm back at my parents' house, feeling so stupid for even being surprised. And of course, now Jonah's texting me acting all confused like he never did anything. He's saying, I just needed space to cool down, and I didn't mean for you to actually leave. I felt pretty justified until my mom told me basically that I need to let things like this and not overreact so much over mistakes. My mom is usually right when she tells me things like this. So yeah, sum of comments. Commenter, leave him, and make sure to get child support. You and your daughter deserve better than him. Reply, I get what you're saying but his parents will rain hellfire on my soul if I try that. Commenter, so they're threatening you into staying? Reply, I just know how they can be. Their lawyers are fucking vicious attack dogs. Commenter, ask your parents for help too, I'm sure they can find just as vicious lawyers as his parents. Also keep receipts. Any texts of him acting out, also any record of him smoking weed around your daughter, texts pictures, etc. His lawyers can be overpaid booty holes but can't argue with facts. Reply, I'm not sure if they'd lend the money tbh. Besides them only helping like that if you're literally and truly homeless, they're very much, kids need two parents, types. Commenter, is your daughter's well-being less valuable to you than being in court? Reply, that's a slap in the face. Thank you. Update. Edit, I've left my mom's house and I'm staying at a friend's place with my daughter. I'm going to meet with a lawyer this Thursday for a free consultation. Thank you all so much for your help in making me see sense RN. Update post, April 19, 2025, 19 days from OG post, 22-ish from OG post. Hi again. It's been about 3 weeks since my original post, 21 days to be exact, yeah I've been counting. So yeah. A lot has happened since I posted. I didn't expect this many people to even read it, let alone support me the way y'all did. First off, thank you, seriously. It made me realize I wasn't as crazy or overdramatic as some people kept trying to make me feel. Me and Anna are staying with my friend. She's been amazing. Helping with Anna, giving me a place to crash, and making a part of her living room into a little area for my online school. I've been applying to part-time jobs, cafes, bakeries, whatever I can get, and one place actually seemed really interested, so fingers crossed. Sadly the shit did get messy though. A week ago, I found out Jonah's been cheating on me. One of his friends, who honestly always seemed more decent than the rest, DM'd me out of nowhere and basically said I deserved to know because Jonah was bragging about messing around with some girl he met at a party weeks ago. I didn't even have to ask for proof, he sent screenshots of their texts and a photo of them together. I was still trying to process that when Jonah showed up at my friend's place. I didn't tell him to come. I hadn't answered any of his texts, and I definitely didn't say he could just roll up. I was outside with Anna on the porch, letting her ride her scooter for a bit while I kept an eye on her. He pulled up, got out of the car, already yelling, accusing me of trying to take his daughter away from him and trying to ruin his life. I told him to leave and kept my voice calm because Anna was right there, but he kept pushing it, getting louder and more aggressive. I told him I knew about the cheating because his friend told me when he tried to go off about me not being loyal. That's when he lost it completely. He got in my face, called me a bunch of names I'm not repeating here, and then slapped me hard. I fell back but managed to catch myself with my arms before I hit the steps. I didn't hit my head, but I landed weird and immediately felt the worst pain in my wrist. Then while I was still on the ground, he spat on me, right in front of our daughter. Anna started crying and ran toward me. I grabbed her with my good arm and rushed inside. My friend was already calling the cops when I told her what happened. Jonah took off before they got there. I went to urgent care that night. My right wrist is fractured and in a brace now. The doctor said it should heal okay, but it still hurts like hell and makes everything harder: school, job apps, parenting. I'm working with the lawyer I mentioned before and filing for a protective order. I am pressing charges. I never thought I'd be in this kind of situation, but I'm not letting it slide. Not when he did that in front of our kid. Anna hasn't been asking for him much, which honestly surprised me. She's been sticking close to me and my friend. She asks questions sometimes, but not about seeing him. More like, we're safe here, right? And yeah, it hurts my heart but makes me feel like I'm doing something right. My mom still keeps saying stuff like, he's still her father, and warning me to not make things worse despite me telling her what happened, but I'm done listening to that. I tried to keep the peace. I stayed quiet for so long. But not anymore. My dad's been trying to stay neutral between us, but he's been checking in on me a lot and helping with rides and stuff. I can tell he's more on my side, even if he's trying not to make it a thing between him and my mom. Thanks again to everyone who helped me feel sane through this. I really needed that. I'll update again when something changes, hopefully for the better. Top comments. Jupiter J. Jones, your mother is a fucking idiot and I'm very sorry someone as young as you is going through this. Continue to press charges no matter what others say, get that restraining order for you and your kid. God only knows if he'll ever hit her. I wish you both the best, and I wish you peace. Hakalaga, and please do not leave Anna alone with your parents. Your mother isn't accepting your boundaries and may try to force you to see him by taking your daughter over there. OOP's comment. How he found her. I think my mom told him or he tracked my location somehow. Stories number 7. I matched with my celebrity crush on Raya. Now he wants to fly me out to Mumbai but told me not to tell anyone. What the hell is going on? So I got on Raya a few months ago just for fun, never actually thought I'd match with anyone, let alone someone famous. But then boom, there he was. The literal celebrity I've had a crush on since forever. I thought it was fake at first until he texted me. We started talking. And not just random, WID, crap but like real convos. We vibed like crazy. Same dark humor, same weird obsessions, we both weirdly love conspiracy theories and vintage horror movies, and he actually listened. After a few weeks we exchanged numbers, but then red flags started waving lightly. He'd go hot and cold. Some days he'd spam me with memes, talk to me for hours, and then disappear for like 2 days with no explanation. I tried not to overthink it, he's a celebrity probably busy, right? Then this headline drops, he's dating an actress. Yep, caught by paparazzi, arm in arm, cozy AF. I was devastated. But they broke up not long after. When I asked him about it, he said, she was too clingy, too public, it got messy. There was something in his tone that made me believe him, or maybe I just wanted to. Anyway, fast forward. We've been talking for months now. Flirty late night calls, voice notes, inside jokes. Last night he called me and said he wants me to come to Mumbai to meet him. He said he'd cover everything, my flight, my stay, even give me pocket money, his words, not mine, LOL. But here's the weird part, he told me not to tell anyone where I'm going. Not even my family. Said I should tell them I'm going on a girls' trip or some work thing, but don't mention his name. At all. When I asked him why, his reasons sounded weirdly legit. Like stuff about PR drama, paparazzi mess, NDAs, his team not knowing, that kind of stuff. He said he just wants to see me in person and that he can't afford another tabloid mess right now. Part of me is like, holy shit, is this real? And the other part is like, girl, are you gonna end up on a true crime podcast? I haven't said yes. I haven't said no. I'm just sitting here, spiraling. Like, what if he's genuine? What if this is my crazy-ass love story? But what if I'm being played? Would you go? Stories number 8. I looked up my long-lost grandfather, just to make sure I get his inheritance. I am an asshole. But this day turned out to be a mad emotional roller coaster, and I have to share this somewhere. A bit lost with my emotions, and now I can't sleep. So, my grandfather and Nan divorced before I was born. Last time I saw my grandfather was at my dad's funeral when I was 9 years old. I remember him giving me a bag of sweets that day. My dad was an only child to my Nan, and I was his only child. My Nan passed away 5 years ago. I inherited my Nan, including her old diaries. Turns out, my Nan had an extremely difficult life, and one factor was that my grandfather is truly an awful person. Narcissistic, violent, drunk and abusive. I never wanted to contact him, until yesterday. My boyfriend said how he inherited a bit of money from his granddad some while back. I thought, well, I'm glad I don't have to deal with all that stress again, as sorting out my Nan's inheritance and funeral was super stressful to me. But then I realized. I have a living grandfather, who might not have any children left, so, I went and looked him up online. It was really easy to find him. He's posted all his details on multiple public platforms. I found his Threads account and saw all the pathetic comments. He's begging young women and bot accounts to respond to his messages and making slimy, disgusting jokes. He's also openly racist and misogynistic. I checked my home country's law on inheritance. By law, I'm entitled to my dad's portion. Totally selfishly and only material gain in my mind, I thought that I really should message him, just so he knows my name, my surname has been changed, and just to check if he had any more kids after my dad. Just so I can prepare for his death and have all the relevant paperwork ready. I wrote the message saying something along the lines, hey, insert name here. Are you the ex-husband of my Nan, and the father of my dad? I believe you are my grandfather. Nan passed away a few years ago and I miss her dearly. She was a mother figure to me in many ways. I now live in a different country, but I miss my roots and heritage. I wanted to reach out to you to ask, how have you lived life? I would love to hear from your experiences. I'm a manipulative asshole. I knew that he would fall for my message as a narcissistic person with nationalist tendencies. I purposely stroked his ego. I was not prepared for his response. He wrote a long message of how my Nan had ruined his reputation by spreading lies in my home village. Apparently he's never touched booze or even beer, and you can't find better man than good old him. He told me how his 2 divorces have cost him hundreds of thousands, how women keep messaging him and wanting his money, how he has a nice car and a huge house by the sea. Typical. But then he also said, my dear granddaughter, you have been in my mind almost daily. I've been looking for you everywhere, but I didn't know your name had changed. I feel like a huge rock has shifted off my chest now that I heard from you. I only wish I could tell my mum, your great-grandma, that I have found you. I fucking sobbed. I cried so hard and long I had to quit work early. And I have no idea why. He then told me that he has a daughter, my aunt, who's only 3 years older than I am. He also told me that they've not been in touch since the divorce with her mother. I asked for her name and found her on socials too. And I was shocked. She looks more like my sister than my sisters do. Suddenly, I was totally obsessed in finding out more about her. She's got a 4-year-old pug whom she has based her whole social media around of. She volunteers for care homes, just like I do too. She was awarded 5 years ago for rescuing people from a burning building. She's recently lost 60 kilograms. She's career-driven and doesn't have children, just like me. She loves her dog obsessively, like I love my cat. I sent her a message too, but by that time it was already past midnight at my home country. She'll probably see my message in the morning and now I can't sleep. I feel guilty for reaching out to my grandfather. And now I just hope that I can get to know my aunt. I truly hope she'll respond. I want to know her side of the story too. Is my grandfather truly an awful man? Or is he actually a victim of nasty lies and I'm truly an asshole? I might find out in the morning. Update: first of all, my mum remarried and I have 2 younger half-sisters. But I'm my dad's only child. I'd also like to add one detail of my conversation with my grandfather. He not once asked me anything. When I reached out to him, all he talked about was him and how he's feeling and how his reputation has been ruined. He didn't ask where I live, what do I have children, etc. I think this tells something about his character. Secondly, thank you so much for all the encouraging messages and words of advice. I had a very confusing day and a sleepless night. Thirdly, my aunt replied to me. She saw my message this afternoon and it took her a while to respond. But her first message put me instantly at ease. Hey, OP. Yes, I am your aunt. And thank you so much for reaching out to me, I have been looking for you for years. I told her how I reached out to my grandfather and found out about her. She was shocked to hear he had even mentioned her, as they have cut all contact 5 years ago. She's even changed her surname to her mum's maiden name, to get more distance from him. I told her that it took me for so long to reach out as I never had a good feeling about my grandfather. I didn't tell her anything bad I have heard or found out. She responded to me with a voice note. Her voice is calm and collected, yet very soft and low. Very comforting. She told me that her mum's health has just declined and she herself has just come out of a surgery too. She's been trying to keep everyday life going for both of them and their dogs now for a few weeks, so she's physically and emotionally quite exhausted right now. She promised me that she'll tell me the whole thing and drama once she has a bit more energy. I assume there's a bit of trauma involved. She also said that she can't wait to tell me stories of her side of family in general and she's very eager to hear more about my dad, her brother, and my side of family too. We exchanged phone numbers and for now we settled to swapping photos of our pets and other loved ones to keep the conversation light. I haven't even bothered to message my grandfather today. This interaction with my aunt already told me what I need to know really, but I might do another update, once I get the juicy details of the drama 5 years ago. According to the inheritance law of my home country, we'll split everything. He has left 50-50 and she already seems like a person I have no trouble doing that with when the time comes. Stories number 9. My wife wants a divorce after I asked her to help me in the yard. What should I do? My wife is mostly great. Everyone likes her, she comes across very chill, polite, etc. She is a fun time and in general a nice person to be around, however she has always not been proactive. She waits until the last minute to do things. If I ask her to clean she rolls her eyes. She now lost her job and has been a stay-at-home mom. She is also pregnant with our third. She says she is always drained and has no energy, which I get. She does the dishes and feeds the kids but orders a lot of takeout. She cooks about 1 meal per day and usually orders takeout almost every day, maybe 4 times a week. This afternoon I asked her to plant some seeds, I got vegetable seeds, in the garden with our kids. She said no. I told her calmly that it would be a good activity. She again said she is drained and she won't do that. I asked her again, noting that we need to do the planting now because of the season. She then started screaming and saying she wants a divorce because we are not on the same page. She is tired and can't deal. She has probably done this over 100 times over the course of our relationship. If I ask her to do things around the house she blows up and then demands a divorce. Before we were married she would say she was leaving me. She has never left. I don't know what to do in this situation. When I ask her to do stuff that is reasonable she has a blow up and causes so much drama I hesitate on asking her to do things. But the laundry has been piled up for over a month, not to mention I just feel like in general she doesn't do much. No hobbies, friends, etc. A lot of Instagram, online shopping, etc. She does load the dishwasher every day and makes sure the kids are fed. She puts me in a rock and a hard place. It's also tough because I now pay for everything and work full-time. Today she said she wants a divorce again and will leave me with the kids, and then I have to pay for childcare too. Stories number 10. Aita for refusing to pick up my coworker. I, 30M, drive to work, which is located in a somewhat rural area with no public transport. Everyone else at work drives too. Recently, a coworker in my department, 30+M, told me his car broke down and he asked me a favor to pick him up for work. The thing is, he lives in a different town from me, which means I will have to detour and add another 30 minutes to my commute. He doesn't want to get Uber as it will be costly. I told him to get a bus from his town to mine and I will pick him up from the station on the way to work. It will only add extra 5 minutes to my commute. He refused as he will have to get ready very early. The bus trip will take about 20 minutes. So I said no, I can't pick him up, and he got mad and called me AH. I do feel really bad because Uber will be expensive, but I don't feel like waking up early and adding to my commute just to drive him. We do work closely as a team though, so I'm afraid this will make me look petty. Am I the AH? Top comment. I don't want to get up early, you get up early. NTAFK that guy. Commenter 1. What's wrong with you? You don't want to be inconvenienced for my benefit? Well, why should I be inconvenienced for my benefit? Didn't you get the memo? It's all about me. Commenter 2. NTA, how come he's okay adding time to your commute but not to his? Your proposition was fair, your coworker is being unreasonable. Update. A couple of weeks ago I posted asking if I'm the AH for not picking up my coworker to work. I was torn because I've worked with him for 3 years without any issues and it was the first disagreement we had. So thanks everyone who said I'm not the AH and put my mind at ease. On to the update. After our uncomfortable conversation, I went to a training program in another state, so I didn't see him until the next Monday. I drove to work as usual and he also came in, by Uber, I found out later. We didn't speak until lunch, when to my surprise, he apologized to me. He said he was stressed about fixing his car, he had to replace the radiator and wait for the part, and having to spend more money on rides. He admitted that he has never taken the bus. He moved to this city 3 years ago for the job and never had to use public transport since he's always had a car. So he was feeling anxious and took it out on me, I guess. He said I didn't deserve it and I accepted his apology. So he still Ubers to work since he doesn't want to get up early. But I offered to send him to the bus station near my place after work and he can take an Uber home from there. It's easier to get a ride at the station instead of from our work. He graciously accepted and offered to chip in for gas, but I said it's fine since we'll be going the same way. So he bought me lunch instead. I ended up sending him for 3 days, then he got his car back. Some people might say I shouldn't offer to help him, but it wasn't a bother for me, and who knows if one day I might be his position. Our working relationship is stronger now and I'm glad we could both move forward in a better place. That's my update, have a great day. Commenter, love a good redemption arc, big dubs to you both. Commenter, this was a great update. Also a great reminder that sometimes we act like AHs not because we're bad people, but because we're just going through it and aren't handling it well. Glad he owned up to his shit, and glad you helped make something positive out of it. Commenter, glad it worked out well, OP. This was a great solution and it must be a relief not to be at odds with your colleague. The bus anxiety is a real thing. There was a post on Reddit a year or so ago about somebody being very anxious to ride the bus in their new city because they were worried about messing up the initial entry, buying the ticket, scanning, talking to the driver, etc. While some very kind Redditors gave them details advice on the procedures for that specific site, there was a general discussion about what to do in new cities. Turns out, a lot of people very closely watched several people getting on various buses before doing it themselves. I, for one, am very thankful for the switch to electronic scanning in a lot of cities, one less thing about which to feel like an idiot. Stories number 11. Aita for uninviting my daughter to our Christmas gathering. I am a mother of 4 children. 2 older sons and 2 younger daughters. All of them are adults and have moved out a long time ago. I have always been close with my daughter Sally, while Penny has always liked to have her own space. Which I don't mind, they're both beautiful talented young women that I thought I couldn't be more proud of. We're having early Christmas this year. First week of December I was inviting everyone around for Christmas dinner, gift giving and the lot. When I phoned Penny yesterday to clarify a few things, she mentioned that she and her husband would not be coming. When I asked, she said that they had separated for now as he had cheated. I said that it was surely better to spend time with family if this was the case and maybe she should come home for some time. She emmed and ahed, but then eventually she told me he had an affair with Stinkbug and they had been seeing each other for the past 2 years. I felt sick. For the past 6 months in our talks, Sally has alluded that she had been seeing someone and was typically girl in love. I uninvited Sally to the Christmas gathering and blocked her. I don't know if I'm able to deal with her before Christmas, but this is family time and family can't hurt each other like that. I'm at a loss in all honesty. Penny is now coming, which is good because at this time she needs stability of people who love her imo. The problem is that Sally naturally thinks I'm in the wrong. It's none of my business, and as her mother I can't block her and remove her from the family. My sister thinks I shouldn't get involved in their personal lives, which I think is BS. My daughter needs us right now. But then she tells me I have 2 daughters to think about. Which I think isn't true. Sally has forfeited that right ATM. Thankfully my husband is liaising with Sally ATM, but he is also in solidarity with me. So are we in the wrong for uninviting a daughter for Christmas? Edit. My husband showed me that this had gotten a lot responses. Too many for us to answer them all, but we will be reading through before bed. A small update, Penny's MIL found out. While me and her have only spoken a few times, she did dote on Penny and I know Penny got along well with her. I haven't spoken to her personally, but I know she phoned my daughter and was really supportive and crying. My sister said that if Sally isn't invited then she isn't going either. Which is fine by me, she wasn't invited in the first place due to the pandemic. Otherwise I've been working and doing some crochet, so it's been quiet, smiley face. Comments. Commenter 1. NTA no, sleeping with her sister's husband is a really good reason to uninvite your daughter. This is a case where one has so massively wronged the other that staying neutral or not taking sides is taking a side. I've seen a few of these that go the other way and want the betrayed sister to suck it up and put their hurt and feelings aside for the sake of the family, so good for you for not pulling that bullshit. Commenter. Right, she went from S to stinkbug and I was like who? Update. Hello all. My Christmas gathering was yesterday and my son and husband wondered if I would post an update for you all. It's been rather uneventful, but I've been equally surrounded by warmth and love while also feeling heartbroken and lonely. So first of all, since my post, my husband has been teaching me to use Reddit. I've really enjoyed being in some craft communities. My daughter Penny has been staying with us. She works from home. My husband and eldest went to get some more of her stuff from her old house. Penny's mother-in-law, Jane, was there and was very helpful and sweet. She also bought some mint hot chocolate for our Penny and Christmas candles. I know they're her favorite. From what Penny has told me, Jane is having similar feelings to me. A lot of guilt over our children's decision to hurt people we love. I think at this point we have to accept that we did our best raising them, but they're adults now so we can't beat ourselves up. Penny and Jane are going to stay in touch. I think Jane truly does think of Penny as a daughter friend. On to some more negative things. I wrote my letter to Sally during this time. I expressed that I was extremely disappointed and also disgusted. While I will continue to have a relationship with her, she won't be welcome to any family gatherings with Penny present unless Penny has met a point in her life where she feels comfortable. I told her what some of you had said, that not taking a side would be a side and that she had for all intents and purposes, already uninvited herself when she was so cruel to her sister. Sally had apparently come up on Friday and knocked on the door. I was out shopping at the time. My husband spoke to her. Apparently, Sally and Michael, my son-in-law, are going to continue their relationship. I will not support it in any way or form. She may be my daughter, but that man is not welcome. I am supporting Penny through the divorce, and if Sally ever expects money for the wedding or a house then she's a very naive girl. My husband sent her away, after which Sally said we'd have to get over it someday. Otherwise, the Christmas gathering was lovely. It was strange not getting drunk and playing board games due to COVID, but still a pleasant time. My hip hurts from the cooking loudly crying face, but husband and Penny did the cleaning up, so who's the real winner? I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for your kind words when I last spoke to you. Comments. Commenter 4. I wasn't able to judge your other post, as it's locked, but I'm glad your Christmas gathering went well OP, and just to say your NTA for uninviting Sally, S, and I hope P can move on from this and perhaps find a better man who won't cheat on her and treat her like a queen. Commenter 5. I agree. If Sally marries the AHIL, she will create a vacancy for the position of mistress. Commenter 6. You handled everything perfectly. We see many posts on here where they parents take the opposite approach. Welcome the sister and cheater to everything and tell the one that was wrong just to get over it. I mean, WTF is up with that? Your get-together sounds like it was fun. It's cool they did the cleanup. Never thought it fair that the women in my family spent the first half of the day cooking and still had to do the cleanup afterwards while the men watched TV. Reply, it was still a very hard decision to make. My heart breaks at a situation I can't fix. My husband will always do the dishes after as he insists I don't load the dishwasher correctly. Maybe I should do more of the cleaning incorrectly. Update. I hope this message finds you well. A lot has changed since I last spoke with you all, so I would like to update you because I am finding things a bit difficult right now. First of all, Penny is doing well. She met someone new about a year ago, they're incredibly supportive and sweet, and they made such an effort in getting to know me and my husband. Penny was still living with me when she started seeing them, so I got to watch their relationship develop, and although Penny is a grown woman I couldn't help but be reminded of when she was a child and having crushes. It was very endearing and I'm glad I got to witness firsthand the smile her new partner gives her. Penny also got a new job and has moved to Ireland with her partner. Sally and Michael have continued their relationship. I don't have a lot of love to give Michael. I am civil enough but frankly, it is difficult for me to become invested in their relationship at all. Michael recently asked my permission to marry Sally, which was disrespectful, to say the least. Penny still lived with me last Christmas, so again they were not invited. I am not hosting this Christmas and am instead going to go visit my eldest son. He and his wife had a little boy at the beginning of this year. They've asked me to stay with them for a little while so I can help with the cooking and cleaning, as they have been struggling a little bit. Finally, my husband passed away 9 months ago. He fell while on a walk and hit his head, and was there for some hours before someone found him. It's been a difficult transition, to put it mildly. Being a little bit on the older side, I've lost a fair few people in my life, and while I did grieve, I always had the strength to continue. Losing my husband made me realize how much I relied on him. Not just to take the bins out, or pick me up from choir practice, but all the times I was angry, sad, and overwhelmed and he was there for me. When other people passed away at least you get moments of respite in the grief, where you just sort of forget they've passed. With my husband, there are only reminders. Every time I wake up alone, when I now have to take the bins out, when I have to cook a meal just for one person. There's not really a moment of peace in this grief and I have found it very difficult to deal with. It's his birthday at the end of November, and there was another moment of grief as I had to get rid of my notes for birthday gift ideas in my notebook. Everything has just been so painful to deal with and I just cannot stop crying even after all this time. I just can't even stand to think of the good moments I shared with him because it just hurts too much. I know there's not a correct way to grieve or time limit, but I just feel like I've got to get up and start looking after myself for everyone around me. I really want to thank any of you that read this. It's been incredibly helpful just to be able to share my feelings a little bit. I hope you all have been doing well. Update: I wasn't quite sure how to respond to all the messages I received after my last post. It seemed like a mighty task to reply to you all individually, so although I appreciate the well wishes, you'll have to settle for sharing the thank you message. So, thank you all for the advice and care you've shown since that one Christmas so many years ago, smiley face. When my husband passed I could not see another way to live my life. We had shared and created so much together, and I suppose I never imagined a life without him because I never wanted it. That being said, my husband, quite selfishly, died, and so after a year of stagnation it was time to live a life without him. I have moved closer to my eldest son and wife to help raise my grandchildren. It was difficult at first because, although the children keep me busy and gave me joy and purpose, I did sometimes wish to talk to someone my own age about my own interests and not just Bluey. Serendipitously, I ran into an old friend of mine at the leisure center about a half year ago, and she is also widowed. It feels like a light in my life has been switched back on. We reconnected almost instantly and it's a blessing to have someone I can rely on again. We are living together and she is pretty much considered co-grandmother. While I do still wake up alone, I now know that the kettle is already boiling downstairs, smiley face. Penny is doing well. She has now moved to the Netherlands for work and she and her partner are still together. They've just recently gone back home after visiting for the week, smiley face. Sally is also doing well. I know for some that will be disappointing to hear, including myself sometimes. On one hand, as a mother, I'm glad she's happy. On the other hand, equally as a mother, I can't forgive her for hurting Penny. I also have some deeper resentments as my husband passed while he was also hurting because of the decisions she had made. Sometimes it feels unfair to hold that against her. We still talk and I still love her, but sometimes I feel like I'm going through the motions rather than caring for my daughter as I used to. It's also a really hard thing to talk about to other people. There's a lot of guilt and shame involved when sharing that sometimes I feel quite ambivalent towards my daughter. All in all, the last couple of years have been a bit eventful. I would give everything to turn back time, but I can't, and so I spend my time appreciating everything I still have. Once again, thank you all for your advice, care, and well wishes. The help I received was invaluable for navigating a difficult time in my life. Comments. Commenter 1. YH, it does suck to hear the homewrecker is doing good, but hopefully she gets what she deserves soon. I'm happy Penny got away from you and those losers. This whole family is awful. I could never be pathetic enough to keep cheaters in life or near my daughter. Reply, you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know how to share a picture of what you messaged me, so I will just have to copy and paste it for others. Hi. I saw your Reddit post on a TikTok. where your daughter had an affair with your other daughter's husband and just want to say what awful mother you are. The fact that you want to keep in contact with your daughter and be civil with her relationship, after what she did your other daughter, is fucking horrible, and it shows which daughter you like more. I hope you fucking deserve the way your husband did. Honey, you keeping in contact with that homewrecker shows that you do take her side. I saw your post on a TikTok and everyone was saying they would cut off their daughter for doing that. I am young, but I know how to hold people accountable. I would never have someone in my family who would do something like this. I'm not wishing death upon you. I'm just saying I hope you get what you deserve, and if it's that then, oh well. I didn't have anything going on when I messaged you, I'm just telling the truth. You're an awful person and even worse mother. I wish Penny the best, like, away from you and this horrible family. You on the other hand, like I said, I hope you get what you deserved. Oh, and I hope the home-wrecking slut and cheater get what they deserve too. I do hope for them end up like your husband. Just want to make sure you see it twice. You know what I just realized, you are getting your karma. Your husband already got his and now you're miserable, slay. FYI, I'm not like this because I'm miserable, I'm only like this to people who hate and have no respect for their kids and who accept cheating. I can see that you have your own struggles and I understand that when we're low we tend to act in a lowly manner, but I don't think it will help you in the long term. I wish you the best in life and I hope one day you can forgive yourself for saying such an embarrassing and cruel thing. I edited in further messages I received and blocked you. One day when you are loved and maybe you will have a family of your own, you will understand. Maybe then you will also have the understanding and patience to actually parse what you are reading. In no way did I welcome Sally or Michael, I don't speak to Michael at all, and in absolutely no way did I take their side. You obviously have your own baggage regarding cheating and it's very easy to hold your worldview when you have little to no maturity. It must be nice to have such a black and white view of life and it's obviously serving you well with how miserable you are. Cheaters_suck 98. Commenter 1. Reply. You really came back to a thread wherein you had no notifications to view the edited message, realized you're blocked and made a new account to have the final word, and you want to convince me and yourself that you're not miserable. I have never acted on having favorites, I have children. Penny and I are happy with the way things were dealt with, but feel free to wish death upon her family if you think that's what would make her happy in your maladjusted mind. Commenter. FK, these idiots talking. I have 3 kids myself and there isn't anything they can do that can stop us loving them. Stop us liking them, yes. But loving them, never. And my husband did cheat on me. I know that pain. And I still can't believe the rubbish these people are spewing. Don't waste a second paying them any attention. The world will catch up with their ignorance and arrogance in their own time. I remember your last post, when you lost your husband. I'm so glad you reconnected with a friend and are doing well. This is another chapter in your life, one I believe you appear to be living in grace. May your days be full of laughter and serenity. Much love to you. Stories number 12. My, F21, boyfriend, M24, opened our relationship. Now that I've finally found someone, he wants to close it. I come from a small town where everyone knows each other. I was raised in a very strict Catholic household. I had a pretty sheltered life growing up, no dating, no parties, none of that stuff. So when I moved to the city for college, it was a whole new world for me. I had total freedom. That's when I met my boyfriend. He's a little older, and honestly, the most amazing person I had ever met. He taught me so much about life and love and made everything feel exciting. I was completely over the moon when we became a couple. We've been together for 3.5 years now. I had so many firsts with him. Naturally, I assumed we would get married. He was my one and only. Then about 8 months ago, he sat me down and told me he felt like our relationship was losing its spark. I was shocked because I thought we were doing really good. For a second, I thought he was about to break up with me. But instead, he said we should open up the relationship and explore polyamory. He said it's more normal now, and that it could actually help bring us closer. I was hurt. Like, really hurt. I couldn't believe he'd even ask me that. But I loved him too much, he's my first love. I didn't want to lose him. So I said yes. He made some rules like, no bringing other people into our beds, we live separately anyway, and to keep things away from places we'd usually go. But honestly, I didn't care about the rules. I couldn't even imagine being with someone else. I only wanted him. But that first month, things didn't get better. I saw him less and less. He was always busy. I checked his social media and saw he started hanging out with some girl. She posted him all the time. I was burning with jealousy, but I didn't say anything. When I did see him, he was sweet like always, but it started to feel like he was just trying to make up for not being around. I felt like I was the one doing all the work, planning stuff, texting first, chasing after him, holding on so tight while he felt far away. Then a few months ago, we were supposed to see a movie together, but he bailed on me last minute. I went anyway. While I was there, I ran into one of my friends, and she was with her older brother. We ended up watching the film together, Nosferatu, if you're wondering. Afterward, we grabbed some drinks and I started noticing how attractive and funny he was. I caught him looking at me a certain way too, like maybe he felt something too. I didn't pursue anything though, this was all so new to me. Liking someone else. That felt so weird. I wasn't used to anyone but my boyfriend. He eventually found me on Instagram, and we started talking. I told him about the open relationship and being poly, and he was super chill about it. He said he was happy to spend time with me without worrying about cheating. We started hanging out more, and honestly, I didn't feel so alone anymore. I didn't feel like I had to beg someone for love. Even the little time I spent with my boyfriend started to feel enough, because my heart didn't feel so empty anymore. One day, after we become close friends, he just kissed me on the lips. And it hit me, I had feelings for him, sexual ones. We ended up hooking up not long after. It was amazing. I felt wanted. Cherished. He was so gentle, so generous. I couldn't get enough of him. It felt like he balanced me out in a way I didn't know I needed. I finally understood what being poly could really mean, loving more than one person in a way that felt real and full. I grew very attracted. We even joined the gym together and started working out. He's a busy guy but always made time for me, always invited me into his world and his hobbies. I felt special. And giddy. Then this week, my boyfriend comes to me and says, I think we should close the relationship and focus on each other. I was confused. I asked him, why? Things are going really good for us. He said it's time to think about the future and building something serious. Then he brought up religion. You're Catholic, you should understand. If you want this to last, it has to just be the two of us. When I hesitated, he started guilt-tripping me, like I was doing something wrong. Like I wasn't thinking about us. I love him. I really do. But now, I feel confused. I feel upset. I didn't ask for any of this. He opened the door, and I just followed because I loved him. And now that I found a little peace, a little joy, he wants to shut it all down. It feels unfair. Just wanted this off my chest. Also throw away. TLDR, boyfriend opened up relationship to become closer with me, instead it got worse. I finally start seeing someone else like he does now. He wants to close it, making me feel bad. Pushpin will be updating soon. After talking to everyone, I plan to end things with my BF. Thank you for the clarity, Pushpin. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, yes. Close the relationship. Dump your boyfriend. He's not going to marry you. You don't love your boyfriend. Have a true relationship with the new guy. Does poly even fit in with your personal values, or were you coerced? Get out now. Reply, it never fit in the beginning, it actually became better now. He wants to close it. Commenter 2, this is common and predictable. Do you know how many times I've heard this exact story? Men want permission to fuck around, so they back you into a corner and make you feel like you have no choice. Then as soon as you meet someone, they feel threatened and jealous and try to close it off again. It's not going to work. There's hurt and resentment and lost trust now. Reply, I never heard stories. I didn't know it was a thing until I met him. Commenter 3, let me guess what changed in your poly relationship. You told your boyfriend that you met someone. All you were supposed to do was pine after him, while he ran around hooking up with other women. He truly did not expect that you would find or want someone else to hook up with. As soon as you drop your new dude and recommit to your boyfriend, he'll want to open the relationship again. Is that what you want? You are in the driver's seat. Talk to the new guy. See how he feels about a closed, committed relationship. If he's on board, go with the person that makes you feel seen, heard, respected and loved. If it's neither, there's nothing wrong with being on your own until the right person comes along. Reply, I didn't tell him at first, but it's like he knew. I don't know how. Commenter 4, he probably noticed that you were happier and had a glow of contentment. I think that you probably changed how you approached him, how often you texted, how much attention you were giving him, less than before, etc. He was loving the fact that you were after him. He was enjoying the attention and how needy you were. It probably made him feel wanted, better, and desired. Now you are okay with how often you see each other and probably reach out a bit less. I agree with others here. Dump boyfriend number 1. He is not it. He is not husband material, especially not after his blatant disregard for your values, feelings, and affection. Then we add this obvious and awful manipulation attempt using religion. Throw the whole man away. Reply, you're right. I stopped pestering him and I didn't care when he bailed on me. I kinda grew indifferent when usually I was nagging him for affection and time. Damn. Commenter 5, sounds kind of like you found a great new potential BF, why the hell are you wasting time on the old cheating moron? Reply, clearly, I'm stupid. He introduced me to these concepts and telling me it wasn't cheating, so I assumed it wasn't cheating, but it felt like cheating, so I guess it was cheating, but I allowed it to happen. I don't know, man. Posting here gave me the clarity that I needed. I was just confused and hurting because he was my first love and all I knew. I know one thing for sure, I am not letting this new guy out of my life. I will definitely be posting an update. OOP on her boyfriend using her religion against her. Reply, he mentioned my faith because I do have religious trauma. Even living the free life, I have moments where I feel like I'm a bad person. This poly thing is another, but I did it out of desperation to keep him. I didn't think I'd find someone good for me. I'm really sad he used that against me. Update. TLDR from previous post, my boyfriend opened up relationship to become closer with me and revive our spark. Out of fear of losing him I agreed. It didn't get better, he started hooking up with a girl straight away and I waited for him, drowning in jealousy and begging for his time. Eventually I finally start seeing someone else like he did. I'm in a happier place. Now my BF wants to close our relationship so we can focus on our future. You can read the full post on my page. The TLDR for this update is at the end. The update. Thank you to everyone who offered advice, clarity, and support. I wanted to share where things stand now after having some difficult conversations. I spoke to my boyfriend and told him I don't want to close the open relationship. I've grown to really enjoy dating the other guy, and it's not something I agreed to just to experiment. I told him it should be a joint decision. You can't just open and close a relationship as you please, especially when someone else's feelings are involved. I also told him I was incredibly disappointed he brought up my faith, knowing how much trauma and guilt I've carried from my religious upbringing and how felt manipulative and unfair. He didn't respond to my comments about religion, but instead said, if you want a future with me, this needs to end, or we're done. I told him, then it's done. He got heated and said I was throwing away nearly 4 years of our relationship for a guy I've only been seeing for a few months, and tried to make me feel guilty. But I reminded him that he was the one who lost the spark, who wanted to sleep with other women, and who opened the relationship in the first place, not me. I just agreed because I loved him and hoped he would realize I'm the only one for him. I didn't ask for this. After some time, he calmed down. We had a long, emotional conversation. He cried. He apologized. He told me he should have ended things instead of trying to fix our relationship with polyamory. He admitted he still loves me and that seeing me happy with someone else made him feel jealous, even though he knew he had no right to be. He said he probably deserves the pain, and he respects my decision to end it. We hugged and agreed that even though our relationship is over, the first 2 years were beautiful. We'll always have a place in each other's hearts, even though relationship has run its course. Later, I met up with other guy I've been seeing. I told him everything. I ended things with my boyfriend because I didn't want to let him go. I told him I'm not rushing into anything, that I don't expect him to give me all his time or energy right away, but I'd love to date and see where things go. That's when he opened up and told me that watching me stay with my boyfriend while we were seeing each other was hard. He said it hurt him, but he kept quiet because he liked me so much and he knew what he was getting into. He never intended to be in a polyamorous relationship, but only agreed to it because he really wanted to be with me and didn't want to lose the chance. He secretly hoped we'd break up because, in his words, you deserve someone who only wants you and completely. He said he likes me a lot, sees a future with me, and wants also to just date each other for now. We're not rushing into exclusivity, but we've both agreed not to see other people and see how this naturally unfolds. ETA, we already know we like each other and don't want to see anyone else. At the same time, I don't want to be in an exclusive relationship. I just want to take my time since I left my first long-term relationship. I hope that makes sense. So, even though I'm mourning the loss of my first relationship that meant the world to me for a long time, I feel hopeful. I feel like I'm stepping into something new, something healthy, something that only involves just 2 people, LOL. Thank you all again for helping me find clarity in a really confusing time. TLDR, he gave me an ultimatum, I chose to end it. Now I'm dating and getting to know the other guy. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, this is the best update it could have been. Though I'm sure it doesn't feel like it yet, congrats on ending your relationship. I think you'll be much more happy because of it. And you seem like you have such a level head of not rushing into things. I hope everything works out for you. Reply, I can't take all credit. So many lovely people on here advising me not to rush. I feel a little sad. It's a big change, but I'll be okay and I definitely made the right decision. Guy 2 is worth it. Commenter 2, you're mourning a long relationship, and that takes time. I'm glad you stood your ground, but I hope it was for you and not Guy 2. though I do hope things work out for you both. Reply, definitely for me. My ex should have broken up the moment he lost his spark. I deserve to be loved without begging for it lol. Commenter 3. We're not rushing into exclusivity, but we've both agreed not to see other people. Isn't this the definition of exclusive? Reply, yes, I get what you mean. We have no intention to speak to other people clearly, we like each other, but I just came out of a long-term relationship. I don't want to jump into another relationship straight away even if it's heading there. I want to take my time and get to know him. Stories number 13. Aita for telling my boyfriend's family that I bought our house, not him. This whole thing started last month or so. Me, 27F, and my boyfriend, 26M, who I will call Matt for privacy's sake, have been together for 6 years now. I'm the main breadwinner, and that has always been a struggle in our relationship. I would say he is pretty insecure of earning less than me. About a year ago I had finally saved up enough to purchase a house in the neighborhood I really like. Up until then, me and Matt had been living in his apartment, which is cramped, and not located in a nice area. Matt has never been too bothered about moving, he likes living in his apartment, and he doesn't mind living elsewhere, as long as doesn't have to pay more than half. Knowing damn well I could easily purchase the whole house, and it was a bargain for the area, I bit the bullet and bought it from all my own savings. When we moved in, Matt loved the place, and I thought everything was fine. Now this is the reason I am posting on Reddit. 2 days ago me and Matt were over to his mom's place for dinner. Conversation was going fine until the topic of our house was brought up. Mil mentioned how proud she was of Matt for owning his own house at 26, which I was confused about, but obviously didn't want to start anything at the dinner table. Then Matt's sister chimed in about how much of an achievement it was. Matt looked over at me, not saying anything. I'm not usually a petty or confrontational person, but something about the fact that I was the one who not only bought the house, but also paid majority of the bills, and Matt didn't even drop $1, stuck with me. So I decided to say something. I asked Matt who really bought the house in front of everyone. I know, it was a dick move, but honestly I was so riled up by that stage. Matt said nothing, and then I announced to everyone that Matt didn't even contribute to buying the house. Immediately after saying that I packed up my stuff and went home. I have been texting with Matt's sister, I will call Kate, who seems to be on my side. Matt is staying with his mum right now, so I have the house all to myself. He hasn't contacted me yet, and I don't know whether it's worth breaking up over a lie like this. Am I the asshole? Some of OOP's comments. Commenter, NTA. The fact that he said nothing actually speaks volumes. He wanted to look like a big man while riding his GF's coattails. As for the breaking up part, I think would depend on what he actually told his family. Did they assume he contributed? Or did he tell them he did? If he told them he did, he's stealing your valor. Get him out. Reply, Kate told me he said he contributed. Tomorrow I'm contacting him to see where this all goes. Commenter, NTH. Matt is lazy and a liar and a freeloader. He had the audacity to tell his family he bought your house knowing he did not contribute one black penny and doesn't even pay the bulk of the bills, and is sulking and hiding out at his mother's house and giving you the silent treatment because you called him out on his BS. You sound like an intelligent, ambitious and hard-working woman. You can do a whole lot better than Matt the mooch man child. Reply, this gave me a good laugh. OOP clarifies to a downvoted comment. It was definitely more of a straw that broke the camel's back situation. As I said in the post, financial insecurity is a major in our relationship, and pile of poo like taking credit for purchasing small things have happened before. Never anything as big as taking credit for buying the house though. Commenter, downvoted got to love all these AI stories with kids buying homes. OOP, I love that you think a 26-year-old buying a home is not real. It gives me a confidence boost. Update post, April 19, 2025, next day. My original post, https, www.reddit.com or Aita SQ5PBP3 die, I haven't quite figured out how to link, so hopefully this will do. Hi Reddit, I'm back. Last night I posted an AITA, and it kind of blew up. I don't know Reddit standards, but I think 400,000 views is a lot. So, some stuff happened today. Matt, fake name for boyfriend, came back to the house. I was assuming he was coming back to get his things and leave, but I was unfortunately very wrong. He literally told me he could forgive me, and that he was moving back in, as if that was a good thing. I was so shocked, but he was deadass. So as any sane person would do, I grabbed all his remaining stuff, gave it to him, and told him to GTFO. He got really mad at that, and I was worried he would get aggressive, so I called Kate, SIL, for backup. She was really helpful, and drove Matt home. As soon as I can, I'm changing locks. As for some of the comments, I pay the mortgage, and I don't even think Matt knows what a mortgage is. I live in Canada, so I'm not sure if I have legal rights to kick him out. He has stayed with me just over a year. I am trying to seek some lawyer advice. Thank you all for your help, and I will try update if I can. OOP's comment. Commenter 1, you're doing the right thing. Change the locks ASAP. Since you're in Canada and he wasn't on the lease or mortgage, he's likely not a tenant, so you can make him leave, but check with a local lawyer to be safe. Document everything, especially any threats or aggressive behavior. You're protecting your home and peace, stay firm. Commenter 2, that is absolutely not how it works. He was allowed to live there and hence he is a tenant at will. OP needs to formally evict him. Changing the locks is a very bad move and OP could end up in a world of trouble if her ex wanted to litigate it. Reply, thank you for the advice. Haven't changed locks yet, and not sure about the certain laws in my area. As far as I'm aware, Matt isn't the kind to go through legal drama, but I'm talking to a lawyer about it anyways. Stories number 14. My girlfriend is 5 months pregnant. Found out it probably isn't mine. We've been together for 3 years. She recently moved into my apartment. About a week after she moved in, she told me she was pregnant. I was shocked because we were always careful. She doesn't like the pill because it causes her to have terrible mood swings, but we always use protection, and we've never had any scares in regards to it breaking. The shock quickly gave way to excitement. I've always known I wanted kids eventually. And even though this isn't the most perfect time because we are both still young, 24, I was really happy. And she seemed to be too. I definitely went overboard with preparation. My wallet definitely isn't happy with me. I turned my gaming room into a nursery. I had my dream set up. I sold a lot of it and moved the minimum I actually needed to our bedroom in the corner. I bought a cot, a car seat, bought clothes and painted the walls in the nursery, and I've been saving and working more hours to prepare. When I said I went overboard, I mean it. I definitely got overexcited, but about a week ago, my girlfriend's best friend messaged me, saying we need to talk urgently. She called me, and she told me that my GF told her that she cheated on me and didn't use protection, and the time lines up perfectly with her pregnancy. I obviously didn't believe her at first. But she was adamant that my girlfriend told her exactly what she just told me. She said there was no way she was keeping this from me, even if she is my GF best friend. I asked my girlfriend. And I don't want to explain the whole conversation, because it's really long and personal. But she denied it, then slipped up when I asked a question, and then she admitted it and broke down crying. I know she's pregnant, and I know there's still a tiny chance it's mine, but I kicked her out. Probably shitty of me. But now she's at her parents'. We haven't spoken since, but she's been blowing up my phone. I need to speak with her eventually so she can get the rest of her stuff. But I really don't want to. She cheated on me, and didn't say anything. And then she found out she was pregnant and must have known straight away it almost definitely wasn't mine, and then she continued to hide it for 5 months. She let me spend so much money on all this stuff, and get so excited, all the while she knew it isn't mine. And the only way I found out is because her friend had the decency to tell me. This is the saddest I've felt. Ever. I lost my girlfriend, and what I thought was my baby at the same time. I've been trying not to cry, and just keep going. But I can't. I can't even explain how I feel right now. I haven't told anyone yet because it's so embarrassing. I did all of that shit for a kid that ain't even mine. I know I'll have to tell my family and friends eventually. I just want to tell someone. At least if I say it here, I won't be judged by people in my life. Stories number 15. I am MOH in a wedding 1 week from today. I might back out now. I'm matron of honor in my close friend's wedding. I'll call my friend Jana and her groom-to-be Adam. Adam is emotionally abusive and manipulative. She had to beg him to propose. He finally did. Their wedding is in 2 months. Their relationship had been very toxic before, but over the last year, it seemed to get better. I got a text from Jana late last night. She told me Adam called the cops and she was done. Adam called during a verbal argument. Over their 4-year relationship, he's threatened to call the police 1,000,000 times. Whenever they fight. One time, she looked at his phone. He said he was going to call the police if she looked at his phone again. Adam threatened to sue Jana last night for her dog. Adam also calls Jana's mom to handle her every time they fight. Jana's mom, Linda, is very, very toxic. Linda has since texted Jana horrible things, including, "I'm done. I'm picking up your dog because he isn't safe. I'll never talk to you again. Next time I see you will be in the morgue. You drained our retirement. You are an embarrassment." Jana has very low self-esteem. She won't leave. Do I stay in the wedding when I don't support the relationship? ETA, I have told Jana that Adam is abusive. I've told him calling the police was incredibly manipulative. I've offered a spare room in my home. I've offered to help in every way I can. I cannot make her leave him, much as I'd love to do so. She insists she wants to make it work. Original post March 28, 2025. I apologize in advance for the length. I am trying to make this as short as possible. I am happy to clarify anything. I posted a little over a month ago about being Jana's MOH and remaining in her wedding or not. I decided to commit to being in her wedding. Until last weekend, my toddler became very, very ill. He had to go to the hospital. We spent the night Friday night. Jana's bachelorette party was Saturday night. I had a very minor amount of decorations at my house for the party, a bridal sash and veil, some cups, and a banner that said last wiener to go in between her. All told, it cost me less than $50 on Amazon. On Friday, I texted Jana as I was leaving for the hospital. I said I'd try to attend but my son was very sick. She said, "Oh no. Okay, I'm going to order more decorations now. I hope they're here in time." An hour later, I started getting texts from a block party attendee, who is not in the bridal party. I'll call her Lauren. Lauren said she was sorry that my son was in the hospital, but either I or my husband needed to leave and drive the decorations to Jana's house. She lives 30 minutes away. I told her I'd leave the decor on my porch but that's all I could do. She said Jana deserved this party. I got no less than 15 texts from Lauren about this. I told Jana I was getting several texts from Lauren and couldn't deal with it. She said, "No one is telling you to leave your son." To Jana's credit, after this, she did ask about my son. The party went on. On Monday, I texted Jana that I was very hurt that the decor was treated as more important than my son's life. She waited 36 hours and said she was very hurt by me acting like she didn't care about my son but that she couldn't delay her bachelorette party and they needed these decorations for the block party she deserved. I replied with a screenshot of Lauren's message and Jana told me there was no group chat about it. Last night I asked Jana if she still wanted me to be in the party. She replied basically putting it on me, saying she respects my decision either way and asked if I want to be in the bridal party. I don't know what to do. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. She's giving you an out. If you feel disrespected to the point that you no longer want to be in the wedding party, by all means step down. Know that you may no longer be friends with Jana after the wedding, even if you do attend. I don't know how important this friendship is to you, if it will kill the friendship, or if this is even a friendship worth keeping. Do what feels right to you in your gut. Commenter 2. I'd argue that Jana may not want to feel like she's guilt-tripping OP by convincing her to stay in it, considering her child was just hospitalized. I do agree OP has the choice to either be in or end the friendship. Commenter 3. If Jana is that consumed about party decorations, I'm guessing she's not super focused on what OP needs or feels. Commenter 3. Hey, she wants the bachelorette party she deserves. And that means having the correct penis decor. Update. We spoke on the phone last night. This morning, I backed out of the wedding. I sent this. I have been doing a ton of thinking since our call. I'm sure you have, too. I know I am not the best person to serve as your MOH. I can't do it. I'm sorry that we both have hurt feelings and that it's even come here. I truly wish you the best with your wedding. Jana replied immediately with, "Do not ever speak to me again." In the hour since, Jana posted to Facebook that she has a new MOH and new bridesmaid. Lauren is the new bridesmaid. I have blocked Jana and Lauren's number. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. JFC. I really thought it was mainly Lauren that was out of order, but it looks like you dodged a huge bullet OP, judging by Jana's response. Your reply was kind and fair. Sorry you got wrapped up with someone so selfish that clearly doesn't deserve your time energy. Glad you won't have to deal with them going forward. Hoping you and your family are okay. Reply. I left out a lot on my prior post to condense it. To list one of many things I left out, there were shady Snapchat stories from Jana on Saturday and Sunday, saying how chaotic her Saturday was and how she dealt with so much drama. She was still posting these stories even after I messaged her that I was hurt. Commenter. I like to assume the best in people, but if her attitude is in line with her reply to your text here, I can believe she was doing it maliciously, which is great, crazy and selfish. As a bride-to-be, I can honestly say I would not give a rat's ass about decorations at my bridal shower being missing if my MOH had to miss it because her child was in hospital. TBH, I'd struggle to celebrate much because I'd just be worried about her and her kid. At the end of the day, it's a party. Your child being seriously ill matters far, far more, to any decent human being that is. At least you won't have to waste any more time or energy on the wrong kinds of people. Sorry someone was this cruel to you though, you don't deserve it. Reply. This situation has caused me to look back on my friendship with Jana with new eyes. Posting on social media is exactly the type of thing she does to try to be shady, for lack of a better term. I've seen her do it when she's mad at her fiance, in fact. Commenter 6. I dropped out of a wedding 7 to 8 years ago. We've never spoken again, and I've never regretted it for a second. Some people aren't lifelong friends, and it's okay to say goodbye when it's time. I hope your little one is okay. Commenter 7. I did as well and have no regrets. And I'm glad I'm not in any of her pictures so she can look at that event back on with fondness and not as the final straw in the dissolution of our friendship. Reply. I have a close friend who had a falling out with a bridesmaid some months after her wedding. My friend says she wishes she never made that person a bridesmaid, because now that person is in so many of her wedding photos. My close friend brought this up to me when I was trying to decide if I should remain in the wedding. Final update April 19, 2025. I've gotten several messages, so I wanted to make this final update. To start, my son is doing great. Thank you for all of the concern and kind messages about him. He has another nasty ear infection right now, boo, but he's doing great. No more hospitalizations. We're very thankful. The wedding happened as planned earlier this month. Jana has made several posts on social media alluding to the situation, posts about having a new bridal party, dealing with drama, having toxic friends, she's crying and devastated, etc., including a wedding recap post today in which she said that she had the MOH she should have had all along, and that Lauren should have been a bridesmaid all along. My favorite part is that when I look back at my text messages over the last 10 months, I can find at least 20 incidents of Jana speaking poorly on Lauren, saying she's so glad Lauren isn't a bridesmaid, Lauren is a bad person, annoying, desperate, sleeps around, etc. I suppose they deserve each other. I still have no regrets. Relevant comments. Aggravating, gas, 2339. Pure curiosity and apologies if this has been asked and answered. How long had you and the bride been friends prior to all of this drama? She really does come across like a bridezilla for sure. Reply. I've known the bride for probably a decade now. We became close friends in 2017-2018. We had a bit of a friendship falling out in 2019, for those who assume I'm just trying to trash her, I'm not. I could share details on that falling out but have chosen not to. Jana has apologized several times for what she said to me in 2019. We became friends again in 2020. Reply. LOL, send Lauren the receipts. Reply. Lauren's number is blocked, as is Jana's. Lauren actually deleted me as a friend on Facebook sometime in the last few weeks, which is fine LOL. Commenter 1. Seriously, how old are y'all? My middle school nieces are more mature than these clowns. Sounds like you are much better off with them out of your life. Reply. We're all early to mid-30s. And OOP clarified who blocked who first. I blocked the bride's number after she texted me, do not ever speak to me again. I know Jana, and I knew no it wouldn't end there. Stories number 16. Aita for demanding to go through my BIL and his GF's bags if they are staying with us. Background. I have a pretty severe dairy allergy. I break out in hives, struggle to breathe, and have to carry 2 EpiPens with me everywhere. If I get any dairy in my system, I'll end up in the ER. My in-laws know this and have been extremely accommodating since my fiance and I started dating 5 years ago. When we moved in together 2 years ago, we set strict rules for our home because of my allergy. The big one is that no one is allowed to bring anything that contains dairy into our house ever, no matter what. On to the current story. My BL started dating his girlfriend a year and a half ago. They came to visit us together for the first time a year ago. My fiancé made sure my BL explained my allergy to his girlfriend, and our no dairy rule. 2 days into their stay, she bought dairy products and cooked lunch for herself when we weren't home. I ended up in the ER because of cross-contamination. She apologized and explained she hadn't understood how serious my allergy was. We managed to put the situation behind us since both my fiancé and I currently have and want to keep a good relationship with my BIL. The two of them came for a second visit 9 months ago. We had a video call with BIL and his girlfriend before the trip to make sure she understood the severity of my allergy and how serious we are about the no dairy rule. During their second trip, I was taking out the trash and found candy bar wrappers and an empty milkshake container in the guest room trash, the room she was staying in. Even after she saw how serious my allergy is, and how I ended up in the ER, she still brought dairy into our house. I confronted her when they got back. She and BL had a huge fight. BL went through her stuff and threw out everything she had with dairy. We kicked out his girlfriend. BL stayed for the rest of the planned trip. BIL and his girlfriend worked out the relationship after the trip and are still together. Since their second trip, BL has come alone since I don't trust his girlfriend in our house. Well, BIL is planning a new trip to visit us, and his girlfriend wants to come too. At first, we just said no, we don't trust her. But since we know this is important to BIL, we came up with what we believe is a good compromise. She can come and stay at our place, but we will look through her bags every time she comes back to our place. And if she doesn't accept that she can stay at a hotel or stay home, now I am being called an asshole for treating her like a criminal and that checking her bag is an invasion of privacy. So AITA for demanding to go through her bag if she is staying at my house. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, is she the one calling you AH? Or is BL? Explain to anyone who wants to visit you in your home that there are two choices. 1. Stay overnight at your house but follow food rules, or 2. Visit you while staying in hotel nearby and meeting in public places. Reply, she is the one called us AH. We are okay with BL staying since he respects our rule. Their finances isn't great so they can't afford a hotel. OOP on her and her fiance's relationship with her BL. Reply, he is my fiance's twin brother. They have been best friends their entire life and we have become close friends through my relationship with my fiancé. OOP explains about her severe dairy allergy triggers. Reply, I can break out in hives from touching it, doesn't happen every time. The first time she cooked in our kitchen with our pans, but only rinsed it so it looked clean, but didn't clean it properly, so when we cooked dinner I had a reaction. The second time I didn't get sick but mad she brought it into my home after having sent me to the ER. OOP clarifies the no dairy rule in her house. OOP, the rule is not bringing it into our house. I don't expect people to stop eating dairy altogether, I just don't want it in my house, since it is my safe space. I know my allergen hasn't been here and I can eat everything and use everything in my kitchen without worrying about cross-contamination. If she had it outside the house and came back but didn't bring it with her, it wouldn't be an issue. OOP on the relationship with BLs. Commenter 1, we live in opposite sides of the country so I don't really know her. We met a couple of times at family celebrations and everything was fine. The first time she stayed at our house everything seemed fine until the allergic reaction and ER visit. She seemed super apologetic after and we decided to give her a second chance. The second time they visited together we threw her out after learning she brought dairy into the house again. I haven't spoken to her since throwing her out. Commenter 2, how did the cross-contamination occur? I too have severe allergies to many foods, we still have them in the flat or my husband would be on the same exclusion diet as I am. Which wouldn't be fair. We have never had a problem with that as we wash up carefully and thoroughly clean the kitchen after he's had his foods. Reply, we don't have a dishwasher yet and she didn't clean fully, just rinsed it with water so it looked clean. When we cooked later with the same pan there was cross-contamination. Update 1, I didn't plan on writing an update, especially not so soon, but a lot has happened in just one day. But first, I want to clear up some misconceptions around their second visit to our home. I did not get sick from BIL's GF having candy bars and a milkshake cup in the trash, or some candy bars in her bag, that wasn't the problem. The issue was that while knowing our no dairy house rule, had not only seen but also been responsible for me going into anaphylaxis shook and had gotten an in-depth explanation of my allergy and why it is important to us to keep our home dairy-free, she still brought my known allergen into my house, my safe space. That is why we fought with her and kicked her out of our house. On to the update. After the first 500 or so comments telling me I am an idiot for even considering letting this woman, who is a danger to my health, back into my house, I realized I was listening way too much to the part of me who just wanted to keep the peace and was downplaying the seriousness of the past incidents in my mind. I kept thinking the first time she might not have known how serious my allergy was, and it was an accident, and since I didn't get sick the second time she brought dairy into my home, I was exaggerating how bad it was. I know it sounds insane, but after dealing with people who don't take allergies seriously for years, I've gotten used to apologizing and even downplaying my allergy to others. I sat down with my fiancé and discussed the whole situation. He explained how he also doesn't want BIL's GF back in our home, but since I was willing to give her another chance, and it was my health affected by her previous actions, he felt I should make the final decision. He ended up texting BIL to tell him our original no-answer stand, that he is welcome to stay with us, but she is not allowed in our house. Especially since she hasn't even apologized for breaking our rule again, after she sent me to the ER the first time they visited, and I'm his family, and my health and well-being are more important to him than BIL visiting. I wasn't here for this part, but this is what my fiancé told me happened. After he sent that message, BIL called him and they talked. Turns out BIL's GF had told him that she reached out after their second trip, that we talked, and I forgave her, but wasn't ready to have her back in my house yet. She has asked him to come with every time he has visited us. BIL always told her no, and that she would only be allowed to come with when I told him I was ready to have her back in my house. He only asked if she could come since it had been 9 months, and as far as he knew, I had forgiven her. According to my fiancé, BIL was extremely apologetic. I haven't had time to talk directly with him yet, but we have planned a video chat to get everything worked out tomorrow. The reason my BL didn't ask me directly about the situation and believed his GF is because he is aware how traumatic an allergic reaction is to me, and that I hate to talk about it after since I cannot stand relive the situation. If anyone is interested, I can post a second update after I talk to my BL tomorrow, and hopefully have a final conclusion to this whole thing. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. So wait, did she actually talk to you and you forgave her, or did she lie about it? Reply, she lied. I hadn't talked to her since throwing her out before she texted me calling me an AH for the search if she was to stay in my house, which she absolutely won't be doing now. Commenter 2. I understand why your bail wants to visit you too so often, I'm sure he enjoys your company. But I wonder why his monstrous girlfriend wants to come. Do you live somewhere really cool, or does she just want to visit so she can torment you? Or maybe your husband is really rich or successful or good looking so she's trying to remove you so she can be with him. Of course, it could just be because she's psycho and we normal, decent people just can't think like she does, so we'll never be able to figure her out. Regardless, I can't understand why BL is still with this psycho, and if I were you I'd be pretty disappointed in him, to put it mildly. Edit to add, this woman is very lucky you're not my little sister. I am a very protective firstborn child, and even though I'm over 60 I would find a way to take her out verbally and legally at least. I'm not a lawyer, but I am a paralegal and I wouldn't hesitate to help you press charges. Think of it this way, she has a very good chance at killing the next person she does this to, because you know she'll try this again, so if you stop her now, maybe you'll save someone's life. Reply, we live in a beach town and a lot of people go here on vacation, and we have a great house right by the beach. I don't know if that is the reason she want to come, but it is the reason a lot of our friends come to us instead of us visiting them. Commenter 3, I swear, why do people always lie about stuff like this? Do they really think it's not going to come out? Commenter 4, honestly, I was side-eyeing Bale for still being with her, much less even asking if she could stay again, so this explains that. He thought she'd reached out and apologized. So now we can add her being a liar to the list of reason why he be an AH for continuing to be in a relationship with her. Update 2, so I have talked to my BL. We had a long and emotional conversation. I won't post it all here, since some of the stuff we discussed is personal, but I still wanted to update you guys. To start, BL kept apologizing and saying he should have checked with us, not just believed his GF, or now ex-GF. He went on to explain how the reason he wanted to talk with me today instead of yesterday after the call with my fiance, was because he felt like he had already failed us for believing his GF. We do not agree with this at all, and do not blame him. So he wanted to show he truly is remorseful of everything that has happened, not just say the words, but show it through actions. After the call with my fiance, he confronted his ex first, tried to convince him that I was lying and trying to ruin their relationship. That didn't work, so she tried to manipulate him with tears. BL explained it as now that he has fully seen all of her crazy behavior, he immediately saw how manipulative she is. A lot more happened, but I won't go into detail, since it isn't my story but my BIL's. The end result is that he broke up with her. He also told us more that we didn't know, including how they actually broke up after the second time they visited us. He didn't want to be with someone who clearly didn't care about the people in his life by putting someone in danger. He explained they were broken up for about 2 months, and only got back together after she sent him a message saying she had reached out to me and we had worked things out because she felt awful, but didn't expect anything from him. Now it is clear that it was just manipulation to get back together with him. More we didn't know is also that BIL hasn't been happy where he currently lives for the last year or so, and one of the reasons he often comes to visit us is because he has been considering moving to our area. So I have a feeling she has been doing all of the crazy stuff in hopes we would blame BIL, and if we were mad or low contact with him, he wouldn't move. More manipulation, I won't put it past her. BL also sent out a message to their extended family explaining the whole situation, in case she reaches out to the family, and this way, I won't have to relive the trauma surrounding an allergic reaction to explain what's been going on. I also told BIL and my fiancé about what it is like for me to have a serious allergic reaction for the first time. What it feels like and the absolute horror I go through. That was definitely the hardest part of the conversation for me. Neither my fiancé or I blame BL. The way I see it, he is a good guy who sees the best in people and who has been manipulated by his ex. He is still more than welcome to stay with us, and with everything he told us about how he has been feeling lately, we are excited to have him stay with us, and hopefully be able to help him out with everything going on. A lot more was said and talked about, but I think these are the important parts for the update. If I have forgotten anything, I will add an edit here. Also, thank you to everyone who commented and helped me with the situation. Hopefully, this is the last part, and we can go back to focusing on our wedding. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, you said that your BL still feels as if he did something wrong but you don't think he did. Why don't you invite him for an extended visit so that he can look for a job in your area as he plans to? That way he will know for sure that you trust him, and he will also be far away from Psycho Girl. Reply, he is invited to stay with us for a while, he is currently looking for flight sometime in the next 2 weeks. Commenter 2, yikes. X is a awful human being. I am happy that BAL was able to see beyond her act and move on. Commenter 3, this sounds like it turned out great for everyone except for the ex, which is fine. I'm really happy for all you that you're safe and that he isn't with someone who is so manipulative and toxic. Stories number 17. Aita for trashing the gift my girlfriend got me. New updates. So me, 28M, and my GF, 30F, have been together for 8 years and we have been living together for 4 years. GF has always been the artsy type and always has some personal project going, but she has the tendency to get lost in her own world. We celebrated my birthday last weekend and she ended up getting me a pencil lengthier. I don't use pencils and the lengthier in question didn't even fit your typical number 2, it was purely for colored pencils, I also don't color. When she asked me if I liked it, I just quietly walked outside our home and tossed it in the trash. She was understandably upset and called me an for doing that, claiming that I could have at least tried it. Here's the thing, she has been doing things like this ever since we started living together. She has been gifting me things that she likes and ultimately ends up using them. For example, last year she got a packet of Sailor Moon stickers. I don't watch Sailor Moon and she ended up using them all. She also gifted me a jewelry box one time. I don't wear jewelry, so guess who's been using it all this time? First world problems at its finest. So it's been a few days and she's still upset and has even got both of our parents to berate me for trashing the gift. She even admitted she knew I would hate it and was planning on using it after I calmed down in a few days, a detail that she did share with others, but I am still getting name called. Am I really the Edit, nearly every comment says we need to talk about this. The thing is we have, and more than once. She admitted she does this because she wants something but decides to gift it to me to say, I tried. I asked if I gave her a wish list would that help, and she said that she would never look in it, and well, she didn't when I made and sent one to her. She on the other hand does have a wish list which I do get her stuff from, and some of that stuff is actually expensive. Relevant comments. Commenter. Walking out and trashing it like a drama queen makes you an asshole. She's also an ass for giving you stuff that she knows you won't use. You're meant to talk about your feelings and about your expectations, not act like you acted here. Reply. I wouldn't say I'm a drama queen, I didn't yell, scream or anything. I just had a disappointed look on my face and she just pieced together what I had done. I literally didn't say anything during the ordeal. Commenter. But you should have directly talked to her about this way beforehand if it's something you say she does constantly. Reply. Actually I have, we've had many talks about this. She does this on purpose because she wants a certain something and decides to gift it to me so she can say, I tried. I offered to give her a wish list, but she literally said she would never look at, and she did indeed not look at it. Commenter. I have to ask. Do you ever get her gifts? Reply. Yes I do, I actually go over the top with her gifts. She wanted a Nintendo Switch, I got her an Switch and she legit played it till she got carpal tunnel. Still uses the cast once in a while. Commenter. Do you tell her about anything you may like, or does she have to figure it out? Reply. I sent her a wish list which she never bothered to look at. Update. I was not expecting this much attention. I want to thank everyone for commenting and giving advice, sorry I couldn't get to you all. I wasn't expecting to make an update, but there's been a development. Before that, I want to address a few things. Many commentators said that my GF is a narcissist or has some personality disorder. Probably should have mentioned this before, but she has ADHD, which she is medicated for, so she has always been pretty scatterbrained. However, it did get noticeably worse when we moved in together, such as blowing plans because she either forgot completely or forgot the part where we agreed on them, or forgetting to do any errands or chores because she is just so invested in something, usually an art project. There was one comment that resonated with me that said that I must have been conditioned to accept this kind of behavior. That is accurate. My parents always instilled into me to be grateful and happy for getting anything at all because they got nothing when they were younger. If I got a sack of S*** as a gift, I was expected to dance like Happy Prospector. If this at all explains my tolerant doormat behavior. The update. Despite using a throwaway, my GF still found the post. She was very miffed by the responses and tried to vent to her friends, but they weren't on her side. She then decided to show the post to her and my siblings. They wanted to know if it was true, and when confirmed they all yelled at her and they got our respective parents calmed down and stopped talking about it. She came to me over the weekend, and after talking about it since then we kind of worked over several things. She recognized that she really did screw up, and as an apology she gave me this cool dragon diffuser I've been wanting for a while and a box of all the stuff I was gifted, telling me I may do whatever I please with them. She's also open to not receiving gifts for the next couple of special occasions which I will be doing. So when it came down to her selfish gift giving, apparently what she meant by, "I tried," was her forgetting about these occasions up until the last minute and not wanting to admit it. She hastily gets them off of Amazon from whatever shows up first on her homepage and just hopes I'll like them enough to not say anything negatively and uses them when I won't. She refused to look at my wish list because gifts should be a surprise, but when I brought up her list, she had no answer. She said she'll look at mine from now on. I don't think this is a deal breaker, but it does need to end, and well, most of you were right, there were other issues. We have agreed to therapy, single and couples, which she will pay for. This may not what you were expecting, but I think it's a good start. New updates. I, 28M, broke up with my GF, 30F, of 8 years. Having a hard time to process it. April 28, 2023. So me, 28M, and my GF, 30F, of 8 years had split up about 2 weeks ago. We were having issues, see post history, and decided to go to therapy to work it out. After the very first session I realized that I do not want to work on this relationship anymore, it was just too much trouble than it was worth. So I broke up with her, lots of crying on her end, but she seemed to accept it. She has already moved out of our house and agreed that I may keep it since I have no family in our state. Things haven't exactly been well since then. Her parents, who have been divorced for a decade now, have turned a 180 and are begging me to take her back. Her dad even tried to bribe me to take her back. I have refused and blocked them, but they still find ways to circumvent that. My own parents have also done a 180 and are now supportive, but I don't want to talk to them. As for me, well, I have begun to drink a lot more. People always say to work on yourself after a relationship like going to the gym or getting a new hobby, but I am just not feeling it. All I want to do now is drink. Coworkers and even my boss noticed my sluggish behavior, but they shrugged it off as me working too hard. My boss even offered some time off, completely off the record. I'm not sure I should accept since I probably just gonna drink it away. Any advice on how best to move forward would be very appreciated. My ex sent me a bunch of presents to get back together. I'm keeping them May 14th, 2023. Can't believe that I am still using this throwaway, but yeah. I left my home today seeing a bunch of packages at my doorstep, didn't have time to open them, so I tossed them inside and only opened them maybe an hour ago. They were all stuff from my wish list. At first I didn't know who sent them all, but then I checked a personal email that I don't normally use and realized it. It was all from my ex. The email said, "Happy anniversary Melevany, Google the translation." I'm guessing she bought these in an attempt to get me back. It won't work. I didn't break up with her because of a present, check post history. I broke up with her because our relationship was very one-sided and she was so selfish. But you know what, I'm keeping them. Now I can be selfish. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Hey there. I've been following you since your Reddit post and this is an amazing update. Also, I'd like to thank you as well. It's thanks to your post I finally realized that my ex was and is a selfish, disrespecting asshole. He also did similar things to your ex. His birthday I saved up for months and researched the things he currently liked, needed, etc. etc. I would scheme to hide and make it exciting for him. Come my birthday. One time he told me my gift hadn't arrived, and while we were having dinner, went into the nearby $5 shop and got me some random gift. I felt so guilty for not liking it. I kept chanting, "It's the thought that counts." 2. Another year, he bought me a Star Wars pencil case. The thing is, I had moved on from Star Wars 3 years ago. I enjoyed different things. He didn't bother, or care, to know what I currently liked. 3. Another time, I asked him outright to just get me this really pretty notebook that was on discount. He promised he would. When he handed me the gift, it was a Star Wars water tumbler that the cinema was selling as leftover stock. I asked about the notebook. He just said, "But you like Star Wars." Mind you, at this point I had said I didn't like Star Wars anymore many times. I was in fact even more pissed when the notebook I wanted wasn't on discount anymore and I had to pay full price for it. Sorry for the long comment, but I really would like to thank you for helping me wake up. We had broken up for 2 years and I was still making excuses for him like, he's a good person, he's just busy, and stuff. No, he was straight up a selfish asshole. Reply. Thank you for sharing. I am sorry that your ex was a selfish asshole. Eerily similarly, I started to pick up on my ex's selfishness when she gifted me a similar gift. She gave me a yellow Star Wars shirt even though I am not a fan of Star Wars and yellow is her favorite color, not mine. I'm glad that you picked up on it, and seemingly faster than I did with my former partner. Stories number 18. I, 26F, don't know if I should change or keep the baby name after finding husband's, 29M, affair. I'm not exactly sure if this falls in line with relationship advice or not, but I don't know of very many subreddits. So apologies if this is out of left field. I'm expecting my second baby this summer and had a name I absolutely loved picked out. It's been a name I've had in mind before even having my first child, who is 3 now. We even had a perfect middle name to go with it. My toddler even calls the baby the name while talking to my belly. Now that I've recently found explicit messages between my husband and a coworker of his, this has made my life completely implode. For starters, I don't know if I will even be staying with my husband despite them both claiming it was never physical and that he has no love for her. The issue is that her name happens to be the same name I've been wanting to name my daughter. I've had no other name in mind because to me I found the perfect name. So do I have this name stolen from me like so much in my life right now for my possible only daughter I'll have, or keep it? I tell myself to be strong and that this was her name before their affair even started and to not let it be taken away, but on the other hand, will I regret it and only be triggered of the whole thing from now on? Stories number 19. Aita for refusing to have a relationship with my sister or family after she started dating my ex who assaulted me and they supported the relationship. I, 27F, was in a relationship with Tony, 29M, 5 years ago. We'd been together 2 years when I ended it after he assaulted me. It came out of absolute nowhere, and while I didn't end up in the hospital, I walked around with a black eye and bruises on my face and arms for a while. My family were all so surprised by Tony's actions and nobody ever knew why. But we all agreed there was no coming back from that. I did press charges. He did serve a small sentence. I also didn't have contact with him again, until my sister Lila, 28F, apparently decided there was some way to come back from it because she and Tony are now in love. When she told us about the relationship, I was stunned and couldn't speak. The rest of the family were quiet also, but eventually started asking questions, and then they acted like all was good. I ended up yelling questions at her that she in turn yelled the answers back at me, and I stormed off feeling so betrayed and questioning why everyone acted like it was okay. Lila and I fought about it again when she called me up and said I had no right to act like it was all about me. I asked her how she'd like it if the shoe was on the other foot, but she told me I was being spiteful and petty and to accept I didn't get a say in her love life. I told her I might not get a say in it, but she didn't get a say in what I found acceptable either, and she didn't get a say in whether I speak to her anymore or not. I went quiet with Lila and the rest of my family. But I saw they were welcoming Tony back in like nothing happened. There was fallout from a few different people. Some family friends were disgusted my family would hurt me that way, and some of my friends have stopped being friends with 2 of my siblings, Lila and my brother Sam, who's 2 years younger, because they think it's crazy how Lila could fall in love with him and my family could act like that's alright after what he did to me. It's been several months since Lila told us about her and Tony, and I guess I didn't come around like everyone expected because they started texting and calling, and when I didn't answer they reached out on social media and just kept trying to engage with me. After a little while I did respond and I said I'd talk to them in person one more time because I had some things to say, but that would be it. When I went to my parents' house it was them and all my siblings, and they were all ready to talk me into submission, and they asked me what I thought I was doing taking myself out of the family and treating them with zero respect. I said they were getting what they deserved and that I didn't consider them worthy of respect since they're okay with Tony now. Lila tried to tell me I had gone too far and I was making her relationship my business when it's not. I told her to keep that attitude if and when Tony assaults her because I will not want to hear it and I will not care. I told the rest of my family the same. That if Tony assaults and injures any of them I don't want to hear about it and will not care. I said I wanted nothing to do with the people who could accept my abuser back into the family like they have. And I told them I was better off alone than with them for family. I didn't let them say anything else and I left. I blocked them all, and any relatives who tried to pass along messages I told them I didn't want to hear from those people anymore. Some extended family are pissed that I'm taking such a hard stance and they say I'm dragging them into it even though I'm not the person asking them to pass along messages. They told me I'll wake up and regret it one day when they're all gone, and especially after what I said about them being assaulted. Other extended family are telling me not to listen. But right now the loudest voices are the ones who are saying I'm wrong. I do feel a little conflicted because I always loved my family and they were there for me after the assault. So it's making me question if I'm being too me about this. Aita. Stories number 20. Aita for not letting my friend crash at my place after he got evicted. I, 30M, recently bought a small condo after years of renting. It's not some luxury apartment or anything, just a simple 1-bedroom, a little dated, but it's mine. I scraped together the down payment through years of saving, picking up side gigs, and cutting out pretty much every extra in my life. I even got a little lucky last year, with some extra money coming my way, which I threw straight into my savings instead of doing something fun with it. Honestly, buying this place was a huge emotional milestone for me. Growing up, my family always rented and moved around a lot. I always dreamed of having something that was mine, something stable. I've been really careful about setting it up the way I want, keeping it peaceful, and maintaining it properly because I know how much work and money it took to get here. Enter my friend, Jason, 31M. Jason and I have been friends since college. We even lived together once, but it was rough. He was messy to the point of gross, think moldy dishes left for weeks, constantly late on utilities, and had a revolving door of random people over at all hours. When I finally moved out, we stayed friends, but I always knew I could never live with him again. Anyway, Jason just got evicted last month. He admitted he hadn't paid rent for a couple months because he got behind after quitting a job he hated. He texted me asking if he could crash at my condo, just for a couple months, while he gets back on his feet. I told him no. Politely. I even offered to help him look for cheap rooms to rent on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, and said if he needed a little money to cover a deposit somewhere, I could spot him a bit. But I was clear, I can't have a roommate right now. He did not take it well. He accused me of abandoning him, acting like I think I'm better than him just because I got lucky and bought a place. He said real friends show up when you're struggling. Our mutual friends are now split, some understand my side, others are saying I could let him stay temporarily and set ground rules. I feel torn because I get that housing insecurity is a real problem, and I hate the idea of him struggling. But at the same time, this place is my safe space. I worked years to build this life. I don't want to risk losing it because someone else can't get it together. Am I the AITA? Stories number 21. AITA for ditching lunch with friends because of one them brought a dog. So some people in my friend group and I met up at a restaurant for lunch the other day. It was a newer place and looked kinda interesting, so we wanted to try it out. One friend was a bit late and ended up arriving last, and she had her dog with her. For some background, I have trauma related to dogs and being bitten as a kid, and to this day I get very very anxious and scared around dogs, even smaller ones. I told my friend this when I found out she was a dog person and owned two, and we've always organized things so that I pretty much wouldn't be around them. I've always appreciated her respecting my boundaries and making an effort to make me comfortable. But yeah, that day she came to lunch with a very large dog, can't give details on what breed, I barely know anything about that stuff, sorry, and as soon as I saw it I felt so uneasy. We had a table outside the restaurant, so the dog would be next to us the whole time we ate, and that thought really made me panic. Another friend noticed I was very on edge and asked if I was fine. I told him I was sorry and I had to leave. He made the connection with the dog and said it was totally fine and he understood. I told everyone bye and left. I hadn't ordered yet. Everyone seemed chill about me leaving, but later on I got a text from my friend, the dog owner, telling me she felt really disappointed that I'd ditched them just because she'd brought her dog. She said I overreacted, that she understands I get stressed but that the dog is well trained and well mannered, and I wouldn't have even noticed it being there after a while. She said that overall my reaction seemed over the top and disrespectful. Now I'm not sure, like of course I don't blame her for bringing her dog, that's a me problem, she shouldn't always have to accommodate me. Maybe I should have tried to tolerate it and tried to forget it was there. I don't know, I thought me leaving was fine but I'm worried I might have actually offended her in some way. Am I the asshole? Stories number 22. Aita, my parents kicked me out the house with no warning. For a little backstory, I've, 21M, had been living with my parents due to some recent life events. About a month ago I made a post here talking about how my dad crashed my car and my mom refused to let me use theirs for my commute to work. Long story short, my parents ended up paying for the expenses to have my car fixed. We did also end up sharing a car until I had mine's back. After that I thought it was done and over. My mom made a comment about it here and there but it didn't seem to seriously bother her. Until about a week and a half ago. She demanded that I pay them all the money from my car expenses back. She said it wasn't fair she lost money to an accident she didn't cause. And I think that's fair, but I reminded her that I didn't cause it either. Dad caused the accident and I told her I'm sorry that it ended up affecting her as well. But that didn't change the fact my car had to be fixed and it was Dad's responsibility. She got really mad at that and started on a rant about how it was unfair and I was using them for money. And what was my dad's response to all this? He just agreed with her. I ended up just telling her what I've already said because there was honestly nothing else to say. She's been very upset with me since then. But she never mentioned any possibility of kicking me out. So imagine my surprise a couple days ago when I came home to all of my stuff being outside of the house in boxes. Literally on the curb. I was honestly shocked, and mad, about this and I immediately went in the house to question my parents about this. My mom said that she was tired of letting someone so ungrateful live in her house. My dad just repeated what my mom said but in a kinder way because I guess he thought she was being harsh. I couldn't believe it. I asked her to explain how I have been being ungrateful and she responded by basically saying we raised you. We went back and forth for a bit and we were both pretty mad at each other. Then my mom told me to leave the house or else she would call the police on me. I have no idea if anything actually would have came of that situation. But at that point I was so confused and angry that I just went outside and called around to find someone I was able to stay with. I ended up sleeping at a friend's house. It's been a couple days now and siblings have both been calling me. I guess my parents must have told them what happened. I'm assuming it was specifically my mom bad talking me to them. My sister agrees with my mom and says I should have just paid the money back. My brother agrees that it was unfair for them to kick me out, but also says I should have just paid the money back. My dad has also been trying to reach me, but honestly I've just been too mad to pick up the phone for him. I'm just so shocked by the whole situation. I wouldn't say me and my parents' relationship has always been easy street, but it's never been this bad. I honestly thought we were good until all this. The worst part is I was planning to move out and rent an apartment with a friend once their lease was up in 2 months. My parents knew that and still decided to do this. I'm just so confused and I don't understand where they're coming from. I get they raised me and took care of me and all that, but I just feel like that doesn't give them the right to do this all of a sudden. I don't think I did anything wrong. So honestly Aita, in this situation, update, Aita, my parents kicked me out without warning. Some things have happened since my last post. I calmed down a bit and decided to finally answer one of my dad's calls. He started talking about how afraid he was that I was never going to talk to them again. Then he said that things weren't supposed to go that way the other day and apologized for mom putting my stuff outside. Apparently the plan was to talk to me about it first, but he said mom got caught up in her emotions. When I asked why he didn't step in, he said it was because he didn't want to upset her anymore. I didn't really want to accept that excuse, but I took it so we could move forward. That was until I got another call from my brother. Mom's been absolutely shit talking me to him and my sister. Apparently she kept comparing me to them and how good they're doing, mind you they're both older than me by several years. Then she went on a rant about how much harder it's been to raise me compared to them. At one point he says she even insinuated that I was a mistake. Though he says to take that with a grain of salt as she didn't outright say it. My brother was uncomfortable with listening to her talk about me so harshly and he decided to call and tell me. I'm feeling a mix of emotions about all this right now. Part of me is still mad about the whole suddenly kicking me out thing. But I'm mostly just sad about it all. Knowing that my mom is saying all this stuff behind my back only makes me think she really means it. And whether she outright said it or not, hearing that she thinks I'm a mistake honestly crushed my soul. I don't understand why still, but I guess she has her reasons. I don't really want to talk to her again, but I do really want to know the truth of why she feels this way about me. I'm not sure about dad yet. I'm not the type to cut people off, and having to do it to one person is already too much for me. I'm still staying with my friend as of now until I figure out what I'm doing. I guess I'll see how it goes from here. TLDR, my dad called and apologized. My mom told my siblings I was a mistake while shit-talking me. I'm still trying to figure things out. Update 2, Aita, my parents kicked me out without warning. So a lot more has happened over the last few days. First I went back home the other day to grab some important things I needed. I waited to go back over there until I knew my mom would be at work and tried to make it quick because I didn't particularly want to see my dad either. While I was in there I did tell him what mom had said about me. He did seem shocked she would say that to me or my siblings. But when I asked if this is the first time she's ever said that, he admitted that she's told him that more than a few times. When asked if he knew why, he just told me she has her reasons but they're not my fault. I tried to get him to explain more, but that's really as far as he would go. I don't really know how I should feel about that, but I just went with it. I asked if that's how he felt about me too. He said it's not and that he loves me. It hasn't really felt like that's true and I wanted to say that to him, but I just ended up saying okay. I told him I'm cutting mom completely off and him too for now. After that I took my stuff and left. Fast forward to a couple days ago. I got a very angry series of messages from my sister about how horrible I am for turning our brother against our mom. She said I made mom cry and that I should be ashamed of myself. Needless to say I had no idea what she was talking about. As far as I knew my brother wasn't against anyone in this situation, so I was just confused. I tried to ask her to explain, but I should know by now that I never get an answer from that. So instead I called my brother to ask him directly. Apparently mom found out that I knew about what she said, I'm assuming dad told her. Then she called my brother and screamed at him for going behind her back and telling me. To which he responded that she was the only one saying things behind people's backs and that she was being unreasonably mean to me for no real reason. He told her she should get her priorities straight and go yell at dad for causing this whole thing. Then he told her not to call him again if all she was going to do was yell about someone or something. I honestly wasn't expecting that from my brother. He's not the type to step into conflict if he doesn't have to. But obviously her yelling at him set him off. I'm not trying to say I'm happy she did that, but I am happy my brother responded the way he did. Obviously she cares more about what he thinks than she does me. I told my brother about what Dad says and he agrees his response feels weird. I asked if he possibly knows why since he's a bit older than me, but he's just as shocked about this all as I am. He also said he would talk to my sister about everything and get her to back off. So now I'm waiting to see how things go with that. Like I said before, I'm not the type to cut people off, but if my mom is just going to use my sister to talk to me, I'm going to block her too. Also, as far as housing goes, I decided to take my friend up on his offer and stay until my other friend's lease is up. That's the update for now. TLDR, tried to ask my dad if he knew why my mom was saying this stuff. He just kind of danced around the answer. My mom got mad at my brother for telling me what she said, and he surprisingly stood up to her. Update 3, Aita, my parents kicked me out the house without warning. I had a conversation with my dad a few days ago. My brother and I talked him into giving me a better response than mom has her reasons. I just wanted to know why or if mom had any reason for saying what she said. And he finally told me. The story according to dad is him and my mom were in their late 30s early 40s when they found out mom was pregnant again. Which I did know and after reading some comments thought might be contributing to this whole thing. At the time they had decided that they were fine with just my siblings and were done having children. So it wasn't the best surprise to them. But they didn't have any option but to go along with it. Apparently the pregnancy was super hard for my mom. He said she was always in and out of the hospital. It put a lot of stress on my parents and they had to worry about mom's life and mine. Eventually mom began feeling some type of resentment. Dad even said that mom started to question if the pregnancy being so bad was a sign God didn't want her to have me, and the birth was apparently also very traumatic for her. She ended up having to give birth prematurely due to complications and lost a lot of blood during the process. Which led to more pain and resentment. Dad said mom had a hard time connecting with me as a baby and that she said it didn't feel right. Then when I was a kid I had some health issues which added more stress onto their plate. So mom eventually started believing that God had made some type of mistake and accidentally punished them with me. I want to say that hearing that did make me sad for mom. And I do feel bad for what she went through to bring me into this world. But at the same time I didn't choose for her to do that. So to get blamed for it seems unfair. They had a decision to prevent this if they didn't want it. And they actively chose not to. Or at least Dad did, as in his own words he doesn't believe in contraception. He did also mention another reason though. Mom never wanted me to move back into the house. She had been waiting so long for the house to be empty already. So was angry at the thought of me staying at home once again. He said she always thought my reasoning was stupid and that I was overreacting. Dad ended up convincing her to let me stay for a little while though. Though I think Dad believes the same. He just didn't want to seem bad. I'm not going to go into too much detail about why I moved back in. But to sum it up, my abusive ex tried to literally kill me. So I had to find a new place to stay quick, and at the time everything was too expensive for me. Plus none of my friends lived nearby then. So my parents were the best choice, and I thought they were fine with it. I've never seen it as a point of tension between us, but I will say that my dad's made fun of me more than a few times for it. I assume that's what mom's view is too on it. That it's a stupid excuse. So that's what my dad says mom's reasoning for all this is. And he's as close as I can get to asking her directly, so I'm going to have to take his word for it. After hearing all of this, I'm not really sure what to make of it. I wouldn't say it helped, and honestly has made me feel a bit worse somehow. But I'm stupid for looking for an answer in the first place. I've been so stressed and confused and sad lately that I probably just would have done better accepting the woman may have hated me for no reason. But now that I've gotten that, I'm still cutting off my mom, dad, and my sister because she still won't even listen to me. Her and my mom are still harassing me and I'm just not even in a state of mind to deal with it all anymore. I know I said I'm not the cutting off type, but I realized I'm going to feel horrible either way. So why not just remove myself? Obviously they've never wanted me around anyways. And a bit of an update on my current situation. My friends have still been supporting me and helping me through all this. Which I cannot be more grateful for, because if it wasn't for them I honestly don't know if I could handle all this. In worse news, my job let me know I was being let go. Which isn't related to this situation at all, but just feels like a kick in the face. I don't know what I did to piss the universe off, but obviously things aren't going in my favor. So my plan is still to stay with my friend and get an apartment with another one once their lease is up in 2 months. But now I just also have to find another job. Anyways, that's the update. I'm sorry it's so long but so much has happened and been said. I'm feeling absolutely terrible right now and I'm just trying to get past all this. Hopefully in a couple months I can come back and update you with more positive news. DR, Dad finally told me some reasons Mom was doing this. Didn't make me feel any better. I'm still blocking him, her, and my sister. Life sucks right now, lost my job, but I've had my friends supporting me and helping me through. Also thank you for all the extremely kind and encouraging comments and messages everyone has been sending. Reading through the advice and people who have gone through similar experiences truly has helped. I couldn't be more thankful. Stories number 23. Aita for not inviting my nephew to my son's birthday party. I, 35F, have a son, Killian, 14M, who just recently had a birthday. The issue stems from his birthday from last year, where we invited all his cousins and his friends to celebrate him. The party went great for the first half, but when it came time to cut the cake I went over to fridge to go get it and saw it was half eaten. I was obviously upset about this because this had been a cake that I had made by a professional baker that cost me around $140 and my son really loved the design. I asked who ate the cake and my sister, 44F, laughed it off when her son, Robbie, 16M, told her that he ate the cake because he was hungry. To be clear, the cake wasn't the only food at the party. Throughout the party we served many different dishes such as wings, veggie platters, pizzas, chips, and sodas. I was obviously angry that my son couldn't have his cake and had to quickly go out and buy one from Walmart. I'm honestly still shocked that with all the food at the party Robbie still managed to clear half of a huge cake. It was enough to produce about 20 slices. I called my sister later to tell her I wasn't happy with what her son had done, and since I had spent so much money on the cake I expected it back. She then accused me of being fat phobic, which absolutely is not true. I have never once discriminated against Robbie at any time. This was just a false accusation. To explain, Robbie has a weight problem and has been having issues with binging since he was around 13, which is why he is about 250 pounds, and my sister has never failed to let anyone know of that and expects for everyone to bend over backwards for Robbie since he has it hard. This year Killian wanted to have a friends-only party with the exception of 2 cousins, one that only his friends and closest cousins could come to since he hated his party from last year. I asked why and he explained to me that he was embarrassed of Robbie since all he did was poke fun at his friends and him, bring his own uninvited +1, and obviously he ate some of the cake. I complied and only invited his friends and allowed 2 of his cousins to join as well. Luckily some of my siblings were understanding. The only one who had an issue with this was my sister. She called me to ask why Robbie wasn't invited and I explained to her that Killian doesn't want him there because of what he did last year. My sister was infuriated and said she knew we had an issue with her son's weight. Since then she has been ranting all over Facebook and I've been getting calls from relatives, and this entire situation has been stressing me out. Aita. Stories number 24. Aita for kicking my husband out because he hit my daughter. So I, 32F, have been with my husband, David, 36M, for 4 years, married for 2. We met at a cafe in our town when we found out we had the same order. We sat together and talked for hours. When we met I was pregnant with my daughter, Raylan, 5F, from my ex-boyfriend. We started going out and 2 weeks after I gave birth to Ray he asked me to be his girlfriend. After 2 years of the perfect relationship, he proposed and asked me if he could move in. I agreed since I know he had been going from couch to couch. So fast forward a couple days ago, I got home from work, exhausted. So I charged my phone because it had died and I had a missed call from Ray's school and a voicemail, so I listened to it and apparently Ray had pushed a kid down. I then checked the camera I have in Ray's room. After David had picked her up from school and took her into her room, he hit her. Not beat her, but he hooped her with his belt, which he knows I don't do because I read somewhere that if you hit your kids, they become scared to make a small mistake because they think that somebody will hit them, so I've never hit her. And I know I'm going to get criticism for that, but instead of hitting her I explain to her why she is in trouble, then I ground her from outside and take away her screen time for a week or longer. It really depends on why she is in trouble. So when my husband got home from the store with Ray, I told her to go to her room and do her reading. If she wants screen time she has to read for an hour. Then I confronted my husband and asked him why he would hit my daughter if he knows I don't do that, and he just said, "She needs discipline, Sam." I told him, "It isn't discipline if she becomes afraid of you." I said to him, trying not to raise my voice, "You're overreacting. If you don't like the way I parent her, then send her to live with her dad." He said, shrugging like he didn't go against my one rule for when my daughter is in trouble, "And if you don't like the way I parent her, then you can get the fuck out of my house." I said, getting angry that he was taking this as a joke. He simply shrugged, grabbed his coat and left. Aita. Update. So I've been feeling kind of sick recently, didn't think about pregnancy right away, so I went to my doctor, and after hours of sitting in my office and hearing my daughter watching her show on her iPad, I found out I was pregnant. I want to keep it and never let it see David, but I also don't want the child if it's going to be a demon like its father. Apparently I'm only 4 weeks, so I have some time to think. Sorry for the short update, but my daughter is asleep and I'm in the bathroom with the shower running so she doesn't hear me. David came back last night and he's sleeping in my bed, like nothing happened. Seriously considering taking my daughter to work today. Stories number 25. Aita for not letting new neighbors put scaffolding on my drive for 2 weeks. Hi, a couple have recently bought the house next door to us and are having improvements done to it. The house had an extension built onto their drive, meaning they now don't have a drive and have no access to their back garden. However, there is a gate that goes into my drive, but I have blocked off as they assume that they have access and have seen multiple people on my drive without asking me first. Last week, I saw a builder knocking at my door on the doorbell camera, but I was at work. He came round at 7:40 the next morning and said that they'd need to put scaffolding on my drive to have improvements done to the roof next door. I said no and he asked why. Firstly, it's my drive. Secondly, the new neighbors should have come round and asked rather than telling the builder to do it. He said that the man moving in had been up multiple times and tried knocking. This was a lie, as I work from home 90% of time and can see through the doorbell camera. The couple came round the following evening and asked about it. This was the first interaction I'd had with them. However, a week prior, my partner's mum had parked outside their house to pick her and our 8-month-old daughter up. I found that a note had been put onto her windscreen saying, "Please don't block my drive." She wasn't blocking the drive, was there about 5 minutes, and was on a raised curb which is totally legal to park on. He didn't come and say anything whilst I was there, but as soon as I went back in the house, he said something to my partner and her mum. My main issues are that they've assumed they can use my property, didn't ask themselves and got a builder to do it, lied about coming up and knocking on the door saying we weren't in, and now wants my drive for 2 weeks when we can't park outside their house for 5 minutes, not blocking driveway which had been extended. I know that through the ANLA Act that for urgent and essential repairs they can use someone's drive. However, does this apply when they've bought a house that has voluntarily blocked their drive off? Furthermore, the house was up for £270,000 and they offered £266,000. I'm pretty sure that if the roof needed to be replaced urgently, it would have been a lot cheaper than this. Stories number 26. Aita if I break up with my BF after he felt up my boobs in public when I told him not to. I, 19F, have been dating my boyfriend, 28M, for a bit more than a year. We went out to eat and got seated upstairs in a quieter corner of the restaurant. He had his arm around my waist while we were waiting for food. I was wearing a short skirt and a loose top without a bra that was showing a little, that he suggested and convinced me to wear, saying I'd be more comfortable with my boob size since I'd been talking a little recently about discomfort, and he said I would look cute for him. Suddenly, he slipped his hand under my top, pulled me closer, and started feeling up my boobs and rubbing my nipples. I froze. My stomach was exposed and my cleavage was showing, and everyone could see his hands running all over my boobs and nipples under my top. I quietly told him to stop, but he just whispered in my ear, "You're beautiful, babe," and kept doing it for a while. I could see the outline of his boner on his pants. People were glancing over and I just stared down at the table, embarrassed. It felt like they were judging me so hard, and I'm already socially anxious and they just look at me weirdly. Then I saw the waitress coming upstairs. She was looking right at us. A few seconds later he finally pulled his hand away. She dropped off our food and gave me this weird look like she was judging me, and I felt so small. I could barely make eye contact with her. And she kept looking at me a few times while we were there even after that. When we got to our car in the car park, he pulled me into the back seat and pulled his pants off, saying, "Now's a perfect time, babe," as he pulled out his boner and started rubbing it as he put my hand on it. I said no, that someone might see, and went to get out. He pulled me back by my hips onto him and got annoyed and said I was overreacting and he was just trying to be affectionate. And he asked again while he pulled off my top, and I kind of froze and was thinking about all the people who were judging me in the restaurant, and he started pulling down my skirt and underwear while rubbing himself and feeling me up before I eventually pushed him off away from me and got out half naked to go to the front while I pulled up my skirt and put my top back on. Then while he was driving home, he was rubbing my thigh and feeling me and half joked, like, "Could you at least give me a BJ while I drive?" When we got back to his place, I told him seriously that he can't do that again, especially in public. He acted hurt and said, "So you don't want me to show you love anymore," and kind of just walked away while I was still trying to talk to him. I started crying thinking about how everyone was judging me and probably thinking I'm such a weirdo. I told a friend and she said maybe he just didn't realize and was trying to be sweet. Aita if I break up with him over this. Stories number 27. Professor has been secretly docking points anytime he sees someone's phone out. Dozens of us are now at risk of failing just because we kept our phones on our desk, and I might lose the job I have lined up for when I graduate. Advice wanted. Hey all, I posted this in the advice subreddit last week, but want to get a second opinion from the college community. Basically, my professor recently revealed that he's been docking points anytime he sees anyone with their cell phone out during the lecture, even if it's just lying on their desk and they're not using it. He's docked more than 20 points from me alone, and I don't even text during lectures. I just keep my phone, face down, on my desk out of habit. It's late in the semester and I'm at risk of failing this class, having to pay thousands of dollars that I can't afford for another semester, and lose the job I have lined up for when I graduate. I talked to him and he just smiled and referred me to a single sentence buried in the 5-page syllabus that says, cell phones should not be visible during lectures. He's never called attention to it, or said anything about the rule. He looked so smug, like he'd just won a court case instead of just screwing a random struggling college kid with a contrived loophole. So far I've, 1. Tried speaking to the professor, 2. Tried submitting a complaint through my school's grade appeal system. It was denied without explanation and there doesn't seem to be a way to appeal, and, 3. Tried speaking with the department head, but he didn't seem to care, literally just said, that's why it's important to read the syllabus, and, 4. Emailed the dean, which got ignored. Update, professor has been secretly docking points anytime he sees someone's phone out. Dozens of us are now at risk of failing just because we kept our phones on our desk, and I might lose the job I have lined up for when I graduate. I couldn't believe how much my original post blew up, and I implemented much of the advice I got. Now I'm at a crossroads. Background, the original post is here. For those who didn't see it, the TLDR is that my professor was secretly docking points from students anytime their phone was visible during class, based on a single sentence buried in the syllabus. I just had my phone resting on my desk face down, not using it, and he docked more than 20 points from me because it was visible. The consensus here was to escalate the issue, and the advice I got was great. Things were on track until yesterday. Here's the update. After I read everyone's feedback, I emailed the dean and the school newspaper. No response. I know that at least 2 other students in my class tried emailing the dean as well, without any luck. But I ran the math and I'm guaranteed to fail the class if the deductions stand. I have nothing to lose, so I wrote a petition. No one has taken this seriously coming from us individually, so I think it's important to show that it's not just a couple disgruntled college kids whining about a bad grade. My plan, if I can get signatures, is to send the petition to the dean and school newspaper. I hit a small snag when I reached out to 5 classmates that I trust about signing the petition to get the ball rolling. They all thought it was a great idea, but didn't feel comfortable being the first people to sign. So to get around that, someone in the last thread suggested using a website, bopetition.com, that lets me make it so that signatures start out anonymous, but then unanonymize when enough other people sign. That way no one has to be the first person to sign. But here's where I hit a major snag. Yesterday, as I was getting ready to send the petition out, my professor sent us all an email attaching an amended syllabus. The amended syllabus is exactly the same except now has a paragraph which says, all grade disputes must be raised exclusively through grade appeal system. Any attempt to dispute a grade through alternative channels, including but not limited to direct outreach to faculty other than professor's name, will result in an automatic failing final grade of 0%, without exception. Welp. I thought that was the end of it. No one would be interested in signing after that. Surprisingly, 3 of the people I spoke with independently messaged me asking if I was still going through with the petition, and promised that they would sign if I did. They're pissed. They think this new policy is retaliatory. And then, 3 other people I hadn't even talked to about this reached out and said they heard that I was planning to send a petition, and would sign if I sent it. They think a bunch of others would too. They wouldn't tell me who they heard about the petition from, but the cats are out of the bag now. I'm not sure exactly how many others have had their grade docked because of the phone policy, but from asking around it seems like at least half the class had some kind of deduction. Now I have to decide how to proceed in light of the update to the syllabus. I'm considering going through with the petition, but having the app make it fully anonymous so we have some plausible deniability. The final result would only say that out of the 50 people in the class signed, but not who. Stories number 28. Aita for telling my sister I won't be her maid of honor because she didn't come to my wedding due to her dog dying. So I, 28F, got married last year. It was a small but beautiful ceremony with our closest family and friends. My older sister, 32F, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We're close, but she's also extremely emotional and kind of dramatic. She was supposed to be my maid of honor. 2 days before my wedding, her 14-year-old dog passed away unexpectedly. I was obviously sympathetic, but she called me sobbing, saying she couldn't emotionally handle coming to the wedding because she was too devastated. I tried to talk her down, even offered to have someone bring her home early if it was too much, but she refused and didn't show up. It hurt. A lot. She missed one of the biggest days of my life, and I had no maid of honor. We didn't talk much after that. A few months ago, she got engaged and just last week asked me to be her maid of honor. I told her I couldn't. I said I still felt hurt she missed my wedding, and while I love her, I just couldn't pretend like everything was fine. She got extremely upset, said I was being cold and petty, and that her dog was like her child. Our parents are pressuring me to just be the bigger person. I honestly don't know anymore. Aita for saying no. Stories number 29. My GF doesn't want to have sex with me or even show me affection because I took a jiu-jitsu class. I, 20M, have been doing martial arts for over a year now and recently decided to try out some jiu-jitsu as I've always wanted to try it. My GF, 19F, has always loved watching martial arts but not participate, so she watches me train sometimes. I had 3 lessons of jiu-jitsu and my GF decided she wanted to watch. Big mistake. During the session, I'll pulled guard on someone as that's what we were being taught. And this is the thing she has a problem with. She was watching and at the end of the session I could tell something was wrong. She wouldn't look at me or talk to me. I tried to hold her after we walked outside and she pulled away from me. She looked disgusted with me, like she didn't want to be with me. So we get into my car and I just ask her, I know something has hurt you, please tell me what it is. Silence for the whole car journey home. When we get home she sits down and just states, I can never have sex with you again, I don't feel comfortable holding you. I asked why she felt like that and my GF just said, it's because of the moves that I did and that when I pulled guard on someone it made her think that I want to be affectionate with other people. I just sat there confused. I understand that it would make her uncomfortable and I don't want her to ever feel like that. But since this conversation she hasn't showed me any affection, if I try to hold her hand or just hug her she pulls away and it's been like this for a few days. What am I meant to do? Will things just go back to normal? I genuinely don't know what to do but I've cancelled my jiu-jitsu membership because of it. Edit. The person I saw sparring was a dude. This is pulling guard. Pulling guard. Update. I don't know how to do updates but this is a simple one anyway. We are going to talk about it. TN. Comments. Commenter 1. Real talk, I think she is being overdramatic. If you want my honest answer, call her out on her stupid thinking. Reply, I have, she actually has realized it's stupid but her behavior hasn't changed. Commenter 2. Then it's time to dip, lil bro. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Commenter 3. Canceling your membership was, by far, the wrong thing to do. Just to placate an unhinged teenager. Because that's what your GF is, and you're enabling it by capitulating. Reply, that's true I do regret canceling it, but I can easily get the membership again so it's not too bad but I agree, it was a stupid decision by me. Commenter 4. Get the membership back, dump the insecure girl. She knows she's in the wrong, but is too stubborn to admit it and change. She's stonewalling you. Canceling your membership won't reignite the intimacy in your relationship, because nothing you do will make her change. She has to be the one to willingly put aside her petty insecurities and work on herself. You deserve better than someone who treats you like this. Update. We spoke about it all yesterday, and I know many of you will be annoyed but we are still together after talking it out. Yesterday in the morning I woke up to a text from my GF saying, I'm actually so dumb lol, I made a problem out of nothing. I just responded saying, yeah she can be very dumb sometimes lol and she sent laughing emojis so I could tell she was in a much better mood. Basically I picked her up from work and we talked about it, there was a lot we spoke about and I'll try my best to condense it into smaller points. Basically she was jealous that someone else was in that position with me at the time which is stupid and she realized that. Later, after our conversation when she had said she didn't want to have sex with me anymore, she realized how silly that is for 2 main reasons. It's nothing sexual and never would be. And it's martial arts, it's used to defend yourself. There was more but I'm just condensing it as it's way too much to write out. She is also going to see a doctor and a gynecologist as I said in some comments, her periods have been getting very bad recently and affecting her daily life. So bad I actually made a Reddit post asking for help in the past. Her hormones have been affected by this too and has changed her behavior in the last few months but we never had any big issues. Her parents have also noticed this and suggested we go to a gynecologist. However, this is not an excuse for her behavior but maybe an explanation. I have not excused the behavior though, I made it clear that it's not acceptable to not communicate about the issue and tbh even make this an issue. Because there was no issue, and even she agrees. If anything like this happens again I made it clear that it will be a big problem, that if something that stupid hurts her then we may have to talk about our relationship. Because it isn't acceptable. I also showed her some of the comments on the post, obviously I had to tone it down a little but some of the comments gave her a much better understanding. Thank you for all the help, she also wants to thank you for being harsh, it was a reality check she needed. Then I made us basically play a game we did in jiu-jitsu one time, where I pull guard and she has to try to get out basically, and she absolutely loved it. I've never seen her have so much fun. After we played the game she literally got up and said, I have no idea why I had a problem with that. Since she enjoyed it I asked if she wanted to go and try some jiu-jitsu classes as I got my membership back. So on Tuesday next week we are going to do a jiu-jitsu class together and we are looking to book a gynecologist appointment as soon as possible. So I guess if anything happens then I'll update you all. Thank you for all the help, I truly appreciate it. Comments. Commenter 1. Love the update. Half of the Redditors are quick to jump and advise to break up or dip, but I prefer talking out things and fixing them. You're supposed to grow together, arguments and issues happens. Good on you and your girlfriend to figure this out and good for her to realize she was overreacting. Learn and lean forward, good luck, laughing face. Commenter 2, so right. People's responses are usually way too extreme, especially considering it's a biased source only having a few sentences from one side in the situation. Post, my GF chuckled under her breath when I stubbed my toe. Replies, dump her bro, red flag, run as fast as you can. She sounds evil, sleep with one eye open and pack your stuff up and leave while she is at work. Commenter 1. Happy for you both. I do want to note that threatening to withhold sex if you don't behave the way she wants is not something she should make a habit of, nor something you should make a habit of accepting. Apologies if you've already heard that 1,000 times. Anyways, good luck. Reply, yeah, I said that to her and made it very clear. She said it was an awful thing for her to do, and it shouldn't ever happen. Stories number 30. My cousin gave himself gout to spite me. Over the past few years, I've been cleaning up my diet and trying to live a healthier life. While I'm not a vegetarian, I have completely cut out pork and only have steak on my birthday and on vacation. Other than that, I eat white meat and a lot of vegetables. It's gotten to the point that many of my favorite meals are vegetarian. About 2 years ago, my wife and I met up with a cousin that I used to be close with, but have drifted apart from over the past couple of years. We went to a restaurant, and I ordered a vegetarian dish. You might think, so what, and so did I. I literally just ordered it because it looked good. But apparently, to my cousin, this was basically an assault on his entire belief system. He made several comments about it during dinner, and the whole mood just shifted. After that, he went out of his way to avoid vegetables just to spite me. Like, the dude would send me pictures of nothing but meat on a plate just to, I don't even know, get a rise out of me or something. He also brought it up to several other family members, say that college has changed me. The whole thing really didn't make sense to me, since again, I'm not a vegetarian. I just eat a lot of vegetables. I only talked to him maybe once or twice after the incident because it was really weird, and both times he made sure to bring up how he doesn't eat any vegetables at all. Well, we're now at about the 2-year anniversary of this incident, and I just heard through the grapevine that my cousin has gout. Worst part is that he works in a warehouse, so he's completely unable to work while dealing with this. I do feel genuinely bad for the man, but also, this whole thing is a bit ridiculous. I haven't even talked to him in over a year at this point, other than the occasional Snapchat he sends me of his all-meat dinners. Stories number 31. Aita for leaving a hairdresser after I was late. I booked with a new hairstylist. I was running about 5 to 10 minutes late, not great, but traffic, life happens, so I messaged her to give her a heads up. When I got to the salon, surprise. The door was locked. No code, no instructions, no, hey, here's how you get inside. I was just standing there like an awkward little goblin outside the building, texting her for help. She admitted to forgetting to send me the entrance instructions. She took a few minutes to respond, and by the time I actually entered the salon, found her little unit, etc., it was closer to 15 minutes late. Fine, whatever, I'm finally here. Now, you'd think the first interaction would be something like, hey. So sorry about the door, or, no worries, glad you made it. LOL no. Instead, this woman, who, reminder, I have never met, sits me down and immediately hits me with, just so you know, if you're this late again, I won't have time to see you, followed by calling me, sweets, in the most condescending tone. Not even touching my hair, she legitimately is wasting more time lecturing me. She has an attitude now and tells me I'm wrong when I say it took her a few minutes to respond and shows me her phone which says she replied a minute after my message, but my phone says 3 minutes, so I say, well, we are wasting minutes doing this. At that point, my soul just straight up left my body. I politely said that yes, I was late, but I had messaged, and also maybe the abandoned outside in the elements situation didn't exactly help. I even offered to shorten the service if needed. But between the locked door, the passive-aggressive lecture, attitude, and the sweets that felt more like a slap, I realized, I don't need this. I tell her that the vibe between us is not conducive to a good rapport, nor is it a relationship worth having. So I left. Didn't pay, didn't pass GO, didn't offer a consolation, didn't rebook. I just grabbed my stuff and headed home. I told my friends, and now they're joking that I went full Karen for walking out. So now I'm second guessing myself. Aita for walking out of a hair appointment after being locked out, getting attitude, and deciding my peace was worth more than this. Edit. I left early but there was an accident. Highway was closed due to investigations causing side roads to be heavy. No, the door was not locked because the business was closed. She said it was always locked and that she forgot to tell me this. I did apologize when I first entered the salon area. It's when I mentioned skipping a trim and style. She is the owner and makes her own rules, fees, etc. Stories number 32. Aita for not disclosing to my housemates that my family has money and refusing to pay more monthly. Not the a-hole. Hi. This happened in Brazil, but I'm posting here so my friends don't find it. I, 23F, live with 7 other people, 2 girls and 5 boys, one of them is my boyfriend. We are all between 22 to 25. We started renting together 3 years ago when we were all in the same university and just kept doing it. We split rent and utilities equally. We are all at least friendly with each other and regularly have parties, travel together, but we are not all that close. Recently, during a party, we were all a bit drunk and were talking about funny stories from our families and I commented that I studied in a very elite school in our city. One of the boys, J, 25, was very surprised because it is a very expensive school. He started asking me questions about the way I grew up and eventually just said, "Wow, you are rich." I thought that was it and we kept having fun. Well, the morning after, he started making all these jokes about me being rich and snobby, which I didn't mind. We tease each other all the time. But after like 3 days it started annoying people, so one of the girls, Maria, 24F, told him to cut it out because he was overdoing it. This started an argument and eventually it came out that he was uncomfortable with the revelation that my parents had money. We started talking about it. It was super awkward because it sucks having a serious conversation at breakfast, and he said that he truly felt betrayed because he thought we were all broke and that to make things fair I should have been making bigger contributions to the house funds. I said that I understood he was upset, but that I couldn't really afford paying the amount he was suggesting, 1,800 Brazilian reals. He insisted and my boyfriend got involved and eventually he just left while saying I was a liar. Well, my other 6 friends don't agree with him and think he's being a dick, and now he's being kind of sidelined for the past week, but I can't help wondering if he's right. I never lied about how I grew up, but I knew that just the fact both my parents have a master's meant that I grew up better off than everyone else from this group, and I kind of avoided commenting about it because I thought it was awkward. Most people knew, but apparently Jay and our other friend didn't. Aita for not paying more. Stories number 33. Wipta if I told my future Asiel the truth about her fairy tale fiance. My brother Paul, 31M, is getting married to his fiancée Mary, 30F, next October. They met at work about 2 years ago, both lawyers, and claimed to be inseparable from the start. Real fairy tale vibes. The issue? Paul was in a 10-year relationship with Bella, 30F, when he met Mary. Paul and Bella were deep into their relationship, renovating her home, planning to move in. Our families were close, we all thought they were endgame. They supported each other through college, traveled, had baby names picked out, and seemed genuinely happy. Paul's a big skier, and usually went on group trips. But that year, he went solo and started acting distant, especially when Bella came up. We thought he was planning a surprise proposal, he'd mentioned it a few weeks earlier. Then one day I saw a coffee cup in his car with Mary written on it. He brushed it off, said it was a mix-up at the cafe. I didn't think much of it then. Right after New Year's, Paul abruptly broke up with Bella. No explanation, no closure. He blocked her on everything and left stuff at the house they were renovating. She was heartbroken, reaching out to me and our parents, sobbing and desperate for answers. Paul wouldn't talk to her, or us, about it. Less than a week later, Paul told us he was seeing someone new. Tension grew. Eventually he said her name, Mary. My stomach dropped. Same name from the coffee cup. That's when it clicked, he'd been cheating. 4 months, then we met Mary. Paul and Mary would giggle about how coworkers used to joke that Bella wouldn't like their flirting. Like it was funny. Mary came off arrogant and loved stirring up drama. The more we saw her, the less we liked her. Paul is disgusting for what he did, but she's not innocent. She knew Paul was in a relationship when they met. Here's the twist, I don't think Mary knows Paul was still with Bella so far into them dating. From what she said, it seems like Paul told her he and Bella had already broken up months before they did. I still feel awful for Bella. And Mary? I kind of want to give her a reality check. So. Wipta if I told Mary the truth. Stories number 34. Just brought home my child who is the product of rape and struggling with it all. I, 17F, just brought my baby home today and it's very bittersweet. Firstly, I want to say I love my baby girl very much. It's more the context of her conception and birth and my own situation that is making it all bittersweet. Also, this is gonna be a really long vent, so I apologize in advance. Pretty much I just don't feel ready to be a mother. I'm 17 and a complete mess, I can't lie. I've been in and out of foster care and bounced around from family members for years and ended up with my drug addict date who pimped me out to his friends, which resulted in me getting pregnant. At this point I freaked out and ran away after finding out I was pregnant, as I knew I couldn't stay but didn't know where to go, so I ran. Not smart in hindsight, I know, but I was 16 and terrified. I ended up living on the streets for a month. I had been homeless before, so I had places to sleep that were safe-ish, but ended up breaking down at a doctor's appointment, for an ongoing medical issue, when they wanted to do full bloods and told this poor lady everything. At this point social services got involved, and actually did something for once, and found me a place to live, and I ended up a place for young vulnerable mothers to help me look after my baby. At this point I also decided to keep the baby, as although the circumstances weren't great it didn't feel right to abort for me. During the pregnant I had a lot of complications as I was underweight. I'm type 1 diabetic and have uncontrolled epilepsy, which eventually lead to my baby being born at 27 weeks after I had a life-threatening series of seizure brought on by pneumonia. After the birth we were both very unwell and I met her for the first time when she was 2 weeks old. Since then she's had a lot of issues, heart defects, underdeveloped lungs, etc., and was born extremely underweight and has been in the hospital for about 4.5 months, but finally was brought home today, which was great, and I'm so happy to have my baby girl with me. But I feel immense guilt, as I feel like her health issues are my fault and that I have caused her to suffer, and I can't escape the guilt. I did something wrong, although the doctors have told me it wasn't my fault and I did everything right. Also even thought my baby is home due to my seizures. I can't do basic things like bath her by myself or pick her up, and I feel like I'm not a proper mother. I also can't breastfeed her as I'm on medications that could hurt her, which makes me sad as it a key bonding experience. Also there's a court case coming up to convict her father of rape and my father of child abuse ECT, and I'm scared to testify as I don't want to associate my beautiful daughter with those people. I don't want to see her as the product of rape YK. So genuinely just a lot going on, and I'm still struggling with my physics and mental health, and I just want to do a good job of being a parent. My parents fucked me from birth. I've got fetal alcohol syndrome from my mother, and I don't want my kid to end up the same way or in care. Not that I'm being threatened with her being taken away, but still. TLDR, I'm a bit overwhelmed, mostly mom guilt, and there's so much going on and I don't want to fuck up my kid. Stories number 35. AIO over my coworker referencing my unborn baby as her baby. I ask in advance for minimal judgment. I am a young person, so I know this may come off very immature. I'm really seeking advice and trying to make sense of this. I, 20F, work in an office environment at a dealership, and my coworker, 34F, has been saying some really uncomfortable comments about my baby. For the shortest amount of context, I have known this girl, we'll call her Jane, for like 2 months. I had about a week to train her before having a major surgery to have my kidney removed, and I came back about a month ago. I am 10 weeks pregnant, which is not far along. Certainly not far along enough to be touching on my belly, which is among just one thing she has done to make me uncomfortable. Ever since I softly announced my pregnancy, she has been making comments that I'm not sure if I am overreacting to. To start, she never passes up an opportunity to say, my baby. When I say anything, my baby this, or my baby that, she will say, you mean my baby? I have corrected her and then she resorts to our baby. She also makes comments about, if the baby comes out with curly hair, just know it came from me. This is actually a more innocent one, comparatively speaking. I said something to another co-worker about the first time I'd bring my baby to see everyone, it would be more of a come and go day, and Jane piped up and said, I hope you know I'm going to kiss your baby so much. I already have been dealing with her comments by this point, so I told her I did not want her kissing my baby, at least not until he's a certain age. She gave me a weird look and just said, so how long then? And from there I just played it off because others were present, and I said I just wanted to keep her safe. Shortly after this, she said, so how long are you going to keep me from my baby? I gave her a look and asked her to repeat herself. So she did. I said until I felt it was safe to bring her out in public, and this is where I decide to turn to Reddit. She said she would find out where I live to be near the baby, and that when I did eventually bring the baby that she would take her outside the building and lock me inside. Now here is an important note. I understand that she is probably not being serious. But how she says it, and the persistence, is making it very uncomfortable for me, on top of the stress I've already been dealing with. Her face remains very poker-like. Another important note before I receive questions: yes, I have made my discomfort clear, not only in my body language, but my face should say it all. When she touched my belly without asking one morning when I came in, I was slightly bloated. I haven't really popped. I told her not to touch my stomach because it made me feel uncomfortable, and she played it off like I was overreacting and like it wasn't a big deal. I forgot to add, later in the day someone offered me half a pretzel. Of course I accepted, I'm hungry all the time Jane glares at me, and proceeds to say after my best friend leaves the room that, oh, so you're not a germaphobe, but I can't kiss my baby? I swear last thing, there is some trauma on Jane's end, she has kids that she does not live with or have custody of. Not because of anything she did, but one of her comments did include, so I can't have access to your baby while I don't have access to mine. Anyways, I imagine I'm just dragging this out, but I need advice. Is this normal? Is this appropriate? How do I make it clear I'm uncomfortable without upsetting her and making the work environment tense? !edit! I really appreciate the support and advice, and everyone is right that I should be using my voice more. However, I definitely just need to be a lot firmer. Also, I have been here for over a year, and she is actually very new. When she came here, she acted like she's been here forever and wants to know all the tea and acts like she is friends with everyone. I have the mindset that a friend to everyone is actually a friend to no one. I hope this provides a little more insight. What sucks is she really is a sweet person, but there are some other things unrelated to this specific problem I've had with her, and I didn't want that to cloud anyone's judgment. Thank you again. Update coming soon. Me and my boyfriend have been reading the comments and will reply when I have a full chance to process. Thank you all. Stories number 36. Mom still complains we named my daughter after Mael 1.5 y later. My Mael is deceased. My husband, the youngest of 5, was very close with his mother. Unfortunately, he's the only one whose children never got to meet her, as she passed away suddenly in his 20s, before having kids. When I was pregnant with my daughter 2 years ago, he said he was excited, but sad that she'd never get to meet his mom. I suggested we name our daughter after Mael in some way. I liked Mael's middle name, and suggested we incorporate it. We decided to use it as our daughter's middle name. Our friends, my husband's family, and my extended family all thought it was a sweet gesture. But my mother was furious. Every conversation, she would rant about how unfair it was, how I slighted her, how I was favoring my Mael over her, even though I never met Mael. I hadn't learned to set healthy boundaries at that point, so I tried to offer a compromise. We were still in search of a first name, so we told her to send suggestions. She sent us a list and the names were not good. Like Priscilla and Blossom, and a bunch of names that flowed horribly with my husband's surname. When I told her we wouldn't be using any of the suggestions, she lost it, saying we were disrespectful, my husband was making the baby all about him, we were ruining the experience of her first grandchild. She also said my husband had his pick twice, because we were giving the baby Mael's middle name and my husband's last name. I was still in my doormat phase, so I sent her the list of first names we liked and encouraged her to pick one. She refused, saying none of them were as good as her picks, and none were good enough for her granddaughter. In the end, my husband and I chose a first name from our list along with Mael's middle name. After that, every single conversation with my mother circled back to my daughter's name. She said she was willing to compromise with us and sent us names similar to the one we chose, but prettier. Every time I shut her down, she'd pitch a fit that I was naming my daughter after one grandmother and not the other. I was hormonal and pregnant, and I told her it was ridiculous for her to be so jealous of a dead woman and that if she kept it up, she wouldn't be seeing my daughter. To this day, she still makes snide comments about it behind my back, according to my dad. We're LC with my family now and I've learned to set firm boundaries, which has brought a lot of peace. It thought of this story because we brought my daughter to Mael's grave recently. It still annoys me, but there's enough space where I can at least laugh about it now. Hopefully, you can laugh about it too. Stories number 37. My 17M brother-in-law is dating 13F. Should we do something? Me and my husband are deeply disturbed by the fact that his brother, let's call Bob, is dating a middle schooler. They've been seeing each other for 6 months apparently, and Bob just officially asked her out, so they're a couple now. This whole time we thought she was 14 going on 15 next month, and we were already pretty disturbed then. When I spoke to my brother, who's in 8th grade, yesterday, he mentioned that he knows this girl. She goes to his school and they're in the same grade and that she is 13. My husband got so upset he had to up and leave to cool off. We went over to my in-laws to see if we could talk to them and find out why nobody is saying anything, only to find that my mother-in-law sees nothing wrong with this and even complained that the girlfriend's mom begged mother-in-law not to let them date. Mael complained about this. I was trying so hard not to yell and just kept saying, well, she's young, you know, and my mother-in-law responds, they're both so young. Let them live a little. Like what? My husband was fuming and wanted to talk sense to his brother, but his girlfriend was over and we didn't want to make a scene or make her feel bad. I'm just wondering what other people would do in this situation. Bob is such a nice guy, and he's very laid back, so this comes as a shock to me that this is happening. Apparently he told my husband, before they made it official, that she's a little immature and that she causes a lot of arguments. And back then my husband didn't know her age, so he didn't say anything about it at the time. But now husband wants to have a talk with him that she's not the problem for acting her age. Ugh, I'm so disgusted, she's such a baby, still loudly crying face. Please help, thoughts or advice. Edited to clear up confusion. My brother is in 8th grade and this girl is in the same grade as him in school. My brother-in-law, calling him Bob, just turned 17 and is a junior. Update, I did not expect this to blow up and I'm trying to respond to what I can, but I do read most of the replies. My husband is going over right now to have a big talk with his brother, man to man, and also a stern talk with his mother. My husband has 9 siblings. And my mother-in-law puts all of them on a pedestal. Father-in-law is an absent-present father and doesn't even know what's going on except what's on the TV. My husband as the oldest has to step in a lot and this is a big deal. To all of you calling me about face with tears of joy, I assure you this situation is very real. I'm posting because I wanted to see unbiased opinions of others and advice on what you would do in this situation. It's just difficult and I'm still in shock. Stories number 38. To Fu, I went on a date, and my shoe literally disintegrated mid-venue. Met a really nice, successful guy recently. We planned a fancy-ish date. I wanted to look put together and effortless, you know. Naturally, the universe said, not today, Satan. Morning of the date, I realized all my flats were either packed away or destroyed by a previous mud-related incident. Panic mode, activated. Mom offers me her boots. In a rush, I grab them without a second glance, trusting the process. Mistake number 1. Arrive at the venue. Big, upscale place. The guy's running about 5 minutes late. I get up to move towards the center point and thud, everyone turns. I look down. My entire soul has fallen off. Like a dead fish flopping across the floor. Cue instant fight or flight. I text him explaining there's a shoe emergency, whatever that means, and plan to sneak out, buy shoes, and return looking flawless. But he hasn't read the message yet. Limping through the venue with one flappy boot like I'm starring in a tragic medieval drama, I finally reach the parking garage, only to realize my sock is now soaked from water seeping through. Just as I'm about to make my great escape, he arrives. Happy. Excited. Enthusiastic. Meanwhile, I'm standing there looking like a wet Victorian orphan. I try to explain. Badly. He insists we go buy new shoes. I'm dying inside because, minor issue, my personal bank card was recently cancelled, and all my money is chilling in a temporary savings pocket. I have to manually transfer it to my business account, my only working card, before I can buy anything. Cue me sitting there silently screaming, trying to figure out how to sneakily make a mobile banking transfer under the table without looking like I'm applying for a mortgage. To make it even worse, he initially suggests we go to the most expensive boutique mall in town. I'm sitting there thinking, dear God, please let my data connection work. Please don't let my card decline. Please don't let me look broke. I swear I have money, I'm just trapped in banking hell. At the shoe store, just as I'm awkwardly fumbling for my business card, still planning to explain how totally normal it is for a girl to pay with a business account on a date, he just grabs the shoes and buys them for me.